Sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. Lockdown! This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah. Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello to you, and how do you do? Upstate South Carolina, it is great to be with you one more time again. I am the ever-present and vocally possessed Rob Brown. Directly across from me, on the other side of the glass, both metaphorically and quite literally, DJ Drew on the ones and twos, final day, sitting in, holding down the fort for the great one, Lonzo, who returns on Monday. What up, fella?
How you doing?
Oh, just another day in paradise, man. Just another day in paradise. Ready to roll. Ready to have a good day. We got a bunch of stuff to get into on the show today. Obviously, we got a weekend's worth of college football to go through and break down. The NFL's hot and heavy. How about the Green Bay Packers last night? They said, take your picks and shove them, Rob Brown. We'll go out and we'll win with some backups.
Who called it?
They did.
Who called it?
Drew.
That was the most nervous I was about all of my picks, because this Saturday, while you're at the bar watching the games, I'll be right here in the studio working the Furman game and dubbing my voiceover from previous podcasts and reinserting those, re-uploading. So all of my picks are guaranteed to be 100% accurate.
Well, he's 100% so far. 1-0 is DJ Drew on the weekend. Your boy Rob Brown starts off the weekend with an L. Courtesy, hey, listen. Aaron Rodgers, as we see him on TV, and getting ever closer to the lumberjack look. Don't doubt the guy, man. Don't doubt the guy. NFC MVP last year, goes out last night with 3 practice squad guys and knocks off the undefeated Arizona Cardinals, hands them their first loss of the year. The Cardinals were a 6.5-point favorite in that one. How'd I do? Not great. Not great to start the weekend. But you know what? There's 13 more games. 13 more games we picked. Redemption time for Rob Brown is all I'm saying. Look out for it. Busy day on the show today. Let us, Drew, jump right into it.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys are here.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
It is the lunch breakdown of 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworkers, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. When you gather around the lunch table today, this will be your cheat sheet, the things you need to know. We start with item number 1. We talked a little bit about it yesterday with Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Panther Nation PC and on YouTube at Panther Nation Podcast. It was reported by Joel Klatt of Fox Sports earlier this week that he's been told that current Carolina Panthers head coach Matt Rhule, quote, may not be all the way in the let me start that whole quote over because the struggle is real today. He may not be all the way in on the NFL moving forward, end quote, and that he may be having thoughts where, quote, he may want to come back down to the college level. We are keeping an eye on the coaching carousel, and I would not be shocked to see it start spinning anytime in the next few minutes. Right now, we know that Mel Tucker's name, the Michigan State head coach, is in the mix. We know Luke Fickell at Cincinnati, probably not leaving the Natty, but enough zeros on a paycheck and you can get pretty much anybody to do pretty much anything. Lane Kiffin is on the list of potential upgrade spots available. James Franklin. Now, this one was interesting because I had been kind of working under the assumption, Drew, that James Franklin was going to be sticking around at Penn State for a very long time. Seemed like a destination job for him, but he switched agents last week. Now, that does not mean he is moving. Agents don't just negotiate contracts with schools or franchises. They can be negotiating book deals. They can be negotiating speaking appearance fees. They can be negotiating a lot of things on behalf of a client. But for James Franklin's name to pop up in the coaching upgrade circle, including popping up at LSU as a potential name, and then immediately within a week and a half hiring a new agent, smoke's blowing is all I'm saying. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, could we be adding Matt Rhule to the discussion? Drew, if you don't mind, real quick, give me volume to this computer real quick. Here is what Joel Klatt had to say on Fox Sports.
Do you feel like the ceiling has been hit at Penn State? I've been told that Matt Rhule is not all the way in on the NFL moving forward and that he could potentially come back down to any number of these jobs.
So let's segue.
So there you go. That was Joel Klatt on the Colin Cowherd show saying that Matt Rhule is not all the way in. And now that report, that rumor is starting to pick up steam. I've seen a couple of different folks in Charlotte tweeting out that Matt Rhule might be on his way out, that the NFL is not what he expected it to be, et cetera, et cetera. Drew, this is not me saying it's going to happen. This is not me saying that Matt Rhule's out. It's simply me saying, how crap would it be to be 2 years into this rebuild, to seem like the pieces were in place, and then have your guy go, I kind of want more control. I'm out. Tough spot.
Yeah, that's devastating. Is that the same feeling that you had with the Dolphins when Nick Saban stepped away, or was that more of kind of a relief? It didn't feel like Matt Rhule had the wheels falling off here. It felt like things were optimistic, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm a little taken aback. Like I said, it is not that I am by no means reporting that this is happening. I don't know. I'm saying that those reports have picked up quite a bit of steam. Texter says, you know what they say about people who make assumptions? Correct. Again, I'm not making an assumption. I'm looking at a vault of reports coming out of Charlotte.
Or playing the what ifs. That's kind of our job. I mean,
Sure.
You can't have that sense of relief with Matt Rhule leaving like you would with some other coaches. I mean, just some college coaches coming into the NFL when it just doesn't work out. I think one would be Urban Meyer.
Sure.
I mean, in a couple of years, we might not be hanging our heads if he decides to step away. Matt Rhule, you do not get that feeling at all. You think, man, we'd hate to lose him.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Rhule seemed initially, and this is what really blew my mind when we went and covered Panthers camp live not too long ago. I was talking to somebody inside of the Panthers organization while we were covering, and I'm not going to give up names, but I was speaking with somebody inside of the Panthers organization a few weeks back when they did training camp at Wofford, and got the opportunity after our show on that, I think it was a Saturday was over. We got to walk with the Panthers organization from the gym on campus over to Wofford Stadium where the training was going on. And I was walking with 2 or 3 members of the Carolina Panthers staff. And one of them said to me that working with Matt Rhule is very difficult. And that the reason it's difficult is because he has this image on the outside of a player's coach and a guy that everybody loves, and he's just this, and he's fun, and he's that. She said, behind the scenes, he's not that way. Behind the scenes, he's tough to work for. He brings the hammer down, et cetera, which is interesting. Which is interesting because that's not the rep he gets on the outside, but he sounds to some degree Saban-esque. Which confuses me a little bit.
And I've never heard of a coach stepping away because the staff just didn't like him. You know, the staff can oftentimes feel relieved because things are not going according to plan. And look, winning covers a multitude of sins. I don't care how hard you are to work with. If there's success, people just kind of deal with it and roll with the punches. But when somebody is hard to get along with and things are not going well, it's double the whammy with the behind the scenes stuff, but I've never heard of a coach saying, man, nobody really likes me here. And I'm just going to go ahead and step away because I'm not feeling at home.
Yeah, it's look, it's not stepping away because he doesn't get along with people, more stepping away because it doesn't work. And there are also, you know what I mean? Also confrontations. We'll circle back to that later on, but a texter says, I feel like this Joel Klatt character is very much like another radio personality that cites sources and says whatever their personal opinion is. Joel Klatt's been in the game for a long time. All right. Joel Klatt's been around for the majority of my career, and I've never really seen him be a hot take artist. Okay. So I'm not saying that's not what's happening. There are some people that get to a point where they go, hey, hot take radio works, right? Throwing out crazy stuff works. But Klatt has not been that guy to this point. I do not know if that's where this comes from or this is genuine, but I haven't heard other people parroting. Now, the question, Drew, is, are they simply parroting Joel Klatt's reports, or do they also are they also getting the same expectation?
Right.
So, anyway, we'll see where that goes. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown today. How about this? How about being 17-year-old Mikey Williams? Mikey Williams is a 6'2" junior at the newly formed Vertical Academy in Charlotte, North Carolina. He has a class of 2023, which means he is eligible for the 2024 NBA draft. He is ranked as the 11th best prospect in that class, according to ESPN. Already has 10 scholarship offers from college programs. Williams has more than 5 million combined Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter followers, and he has now signed an enormous footwear and apparel deal with Puma. He is the first American high school basketball player to sign a sneaker deal with a global footwear company. He said, quote, I'm excited to join the Puma family this early in my basketball journey. Puma really understands how to mix hoops and culture, 2 things I am passionate about. The Vertical Academy is one of the academies that has been formed in recent years. It was formed, shocking, I know, by Mikey Williams' father. It is unaffiliated with any sanctioned high school state athletic association. It is instead slated to play a 25-game national schedule in 19 states versus a range of prep schools and similar academies. To announce the deal, Williams was featured in a music video across social media dubbed Not Yet Rated, finalized in advance of the Vertical Academy facing off against Overtime Elite in the Georgia Prep Series on October 29th. As a new name, image, and likeness guidelines and laws come into effect nationwide on July 1st of this year, allowing amateur athletes to land paying endorsement deals for the first time. William entered into an NIL representation agreement with Excel Sports Vice President and agent Matt Davis. We do not know what the money attached to this NIL deal is. We don't know how much money is going to be coming in with it. But I'm sure it's not chump change.
Yeah, the 5-star prospect boasts 3.3 million followers on Instagram, and this is what kind of goes through my head. Are we starting to see the next generation not necessarily need the NBA to make the big bucks? They could hang around for college and play a little bit longer because the NBA is not all of a sudden where you start making the millions. You're doing that way before now.
Don't know. We are going to circle back to this later on in the show because I think there are some potential ramifications down the line. Texas says, how much did you hate saying TikTok on the air? A lot. I hated it a lot. TikTok is an abomination onto the earth. All right. It is the 8th pestilence is what TikTok is. It's just the worst. All right. Item number 3 on the lunch breakdown. I don't know if you've heard, but there's a baseball game tonight. The Braves have taken home field advantage away from the Houston Astros by splitting 1-1 down in H-Town. They've got the World Series headed back to Atlanta. Houston came out with the intent of devastation against the Braves in game 2. They ended up winning game 3, Truist Field. Luis Garcia will take the hill for Houston. He is 1-1 this postseason with a 9.65 ERA, a remnant of 2 very rough starts versus the White Sox and then the Red Sox in the ALDS and ALCS, but he does have 12 strikeouts. He did pitch 5 2/3 scoreless in game 6 of the ALCS versus the Sox, the deciding game that allowed the Astros to advance to the World Series. Garcia coming on a full week's worth of rest and will likely benefit because of that. Opposite of Luis Garcia, for the Bravos, Ian Anderson pitching for the Braves. The 23-year-old will make his first career World Series start tonight. Pitched 3 innings in NLCS Game 2. He went 3, gave up 2 runs off 3 hits. Also pitched 4 in NLCS Game 3, yielded 1 run off of 3 hits. In the postseason, he carries a 1-0 record, a 2.25 ERA, and an even dozen strikeouts overall. The next 3 games in the ATL, no DH, with the possibility of the National League adapting the DH. These 3 games might be the last 3 games ever that we see pitchers batting. Might be the last 3 games ever that we see pitchers batting. Maybe some history.
Yeah.
We'll see. We will see where this goes. We're going to break it down. Ian Anderson has looked good but not great. Good but not great in the postseason. Luis Garcia has been, hot or cold. Hot or cold. He has been either really, really good, giving up no runs through 5.3, or really, really bad, carrying a 9.23 ERA in a couple of clutch starts. So when we come back here in just a minute from right now, we're going to take a look at that game. We're going to give you some thoughts. I've got some questions that need some answering. We're going to ask those and make our picks. Bravos, Astros, Game 3 in Atlanta. How's it play out? We'll tell you next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. That where is that? That is from ACC Media Days a couple of years ago. That actually was in here before I got here. That sign right there, that was in here before I got there, Steven. I want people to fear me, but I want them to love me. Mostly, I want them to fear how much they love me.
It's called respect.
Michael Scott.
Yeah. Missed the reference, but I get it now.
This report is sponsored
15 seconds.
Stand for.
Lower Showroom is all about fashion and function. Check out stylish, durable brands like Bruce Hardwood, Smartcore, and Satori Tile. Order now, only at Lowe's. See in-store associate or product detail page for warranty information.
Dispensing real, unfiltered sports talk every weekday noon to 3. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Bit surprising, ladies and gentlemen. Little bit surprising. The Atlanta Braves are actually favorites in the game tonight against the Houston Astros. They are minus 111 on the money line, according to Caesars Sportsbook, against the Astros tonight. The series tied, of course, 1-1. The Braves now have home field advantage in this one after splitting the series in H-Town with the Stros 1-1. The Atlanta Braves a minus 111 favorite, wager 111 to win 100, which is I don't know, man. Like it's surprising. I honestly thought the Astros were going to be favored in every game in this postseason right now. The Atlanta Braves, according to the Caesars Sportsbook, the Atlanta Braves right now, about a 55. I mean, it's not a huge split, right? Like minus 111 is not a huge number, but it works out to be about a 55% chance of winning, according to Caesars Sportsbook. I'm a little taken aback by that. By the way, I was kind of curious. I went and looked at where the Braves were at the halfway point of the season. They were about a 6% chance to make the playoffs. Not the World Series, the playoffs. Just make it. Now, granted, that was before
all the trades and stuff.
Right, before the trades happened. That was back before the injury bug absolutely bit the crap out of the New York Mets. A lot of people thought the Mets were going to win the East or that the Phillies would. The Braves were not even a favorite to win their own division, forget make the World Series. And now here they are going in to game number 3 as a favorite in this game and as about a 52% favorite to win the series now.
Wow.
Look, 50-50 split is great if you're Atlanta.
That's fantastic. But I guarantee that none of that would have happened if it wasn't for the trades. And look, Anderson has just been solid so far. I think we all have a great feeling about this. I think the experts are really starting to change their tune with this, feeling the buzz of Truist Park, the fact that the Braves have just been dominant in October. They go like 5-0 at home. I mean, that's just amazing. And Garcia, he was good in Game 6, but he struggled in the other 2 postseason starts when he gave up 10 runs against the White Sox and Red Sox. So it's just one of those nights where you think, okay, the series is a fresh start, and I think the Braves are going to play a lot how they played in Game 1. Game 3 is just going to be a repeat of that, and we really haven't seen the Braves score as much as they possibly could. We're talking 8-9 runs tonight. Astros, they score 6 or 7. That's on par for what they expect, but not enough to win.
Interesting on the prop line. Over-under for this game is at 8.5. 8.5 is the over-under this game. I got to tell you,
that's low.
I was going to say, I might hammer the over.
Yeah.
I really might hammer the over. I mean, the Braves have hit the ball very well in Truist. They hit the ball far in Truist.
You would have won that in Game 2. I mean,
yeah.
And that was very low scoring.
Yeah. I think I'm hammering the over tonight at 8.5. Braves minus 111 on the money line. Look, there's only 2 questions, which is, does Ian Anderson look like the all-star that he was at parts of the season, or does Ian Anderson let the Astros get it out early? I mean, whoever hits the ball whoever gets out of the gates hot wins the game. That's what happened in Game 1 with the Braves scoring in the first 3 innings. That's what happened with the Astros putting up 5 in the first 2 innings of Game 2. They won. Whoever gets out to a quicker start. The good news, if you are Atlanta, is that Luis Garcia has had 2 very shaky starts. He's been really good in other spots, including that ALCS deciding game. He was money in the back half for the Astros against the Red Sox. But the question here is, do you get Luis Garcia, the guy who has started slow, the guy that has as a starter a 9.5 ERA? Do you put a couple of balls over the fence early to rack up a lead and make Houston play from behind, something they are uncomfortable doing? Or does Ian Anderson get the guy? Is he the guy that gets shellacked early and get pulled? See, the problem the Braves have now without Morton available is that they are going to have to. They're going to have to get quality innings out of their starters, right? They have to get quality innings out of their starters. They cannot not have guys go deep in the game. Ian Anderson needs to give you 6, all right? You got to get 6 innings out of Ian Anderson, because you're at a point now where because you don't have Charlie Morton, knowing that he would be your likely probably Game 5 starter, right? Maybe Game 4 starter, depending on how it played out. And the fact that you would have loved to have had him in Game 7, right? Like how much nicer is it to have Charlie Morton in the bullpen in Game 7? If things go wonky late in the game, close game, you can bring in the best pitcher on the postseason. Not having him, even though you called up, I think they called up one more relief pitcher to be on the World Series roster to replace Charlie Morton. Without him, you got to go 6 with Ian Anderson. If you pull him early, you start wearing down the, what do they call it? The arm barn staff. If you start pulling down the arm barn staff in this game, it really puts the dampeners on Game 4, which it looks like is going to have to be a bullpen game now.
Well, I know we said all that about Game 2, but here's the difference. The emotions are different when you're playing at home, because the Astros could still start out neck and neck, and it's just different. I think Anderson doesn't have the same amount of pressure as he would on the road, knowing that this bullpen is rested. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep calling it bullpen. That's a reference to yesterday when we finished the show. The Twitter Twinning Tropics was talking about how PETA is asking the bullpen to be changed to what does that be? Recognize that Bulls might get offended by this, I guess.
Yes, you don't want to piss off the Bulls.
Right, so arm pin. But no, I'm sorry, I'm still calling it bullpen. But here's the other thing.
It's arm barn.
Arm barn.
Arm barn.
No.
Yeah, the bullpen.
No, I'm not doing it.
The bullpen is where they keep the Bulls before they lop off the bull parts or
make them into nice meat for us to eat.
Turn them into future burgers.
Look, they are doing us a service. They're fine. The Astros lineup is not going to be at full strength due to the game being played under National League rules. Also kind of comes into play into this. So Anderson, I don't think, has the same amount of pressure. Even if he only plays 5 innings, they know the importance of this game. They're going to worry about Game 6 later, and not having Charlie Morton. All of that comes into play later in the series. But tonight, you just focus on the win.
Keep in mind, though, remember, no DH in Atlanta means the Bravos are going to have to make a decision here too, right? Like, do you go Jorge Soler, move him into the outfield? And if so, Who do you sit? Do you sit down Jock Peterson? Jock was very average. Despite having a great NLCS, Jock was very average in game 1 too. But also on the road, Jock's been lights out. Jocktober was rolling hard in Atlanta in the NLCS. Do you sit Jock? What do you do with Adam Duvall? Right? Do you keep him out in center? And because he's a rangy defender, the guy had a couple of clutch defensive snags against the Dodgers, but the bat's been, with the exception of the home run in game number 2.
Yeah.
With the exception of the one dinger in Houston, he was very average too. Like the Braves Brian Snitker's got decisions to make tonight about who to put where without a DH. I mean, if you've got the DH, great. You plug Soler into the DH spot, you send Duvall out to center, and you're in good spot. But now you got to pick between those guys, or do you maybe sit somebody else? I mean, can another one of your outfielders who's been cold? I mean, the bats for the outfield were, again, while very hot in the CS, very, very lukewarm in games 1 and 2. Brian Snitker's got some managing to do tonight. It's great that you're pulling probably Gurriel, but I don't know from the Astros lineup as the DH. But you got the same issue in that you got 4 outfielders and you got to select which one sits tonight or stays in reserve as a pinch hitter later in the game should things get sideways and you need to make that move. I don't know. This is not as big of a plus for the Astros as you might think. As big of a plus for the Braves as you might think, because they got to make the same decisions.
Right. But Brian Snitker has been amazing up till now. And if the bats come out hot and heavy right off the bat again, right in the first innings, then you're not worried about any of that. And I think that's what the experts are saying is, hey, they're going to ride this emotion. They're going to come out swinging. And Garcia is he's not going to implode or anything, but he's just going to, do his thing, and Braves are going to be able to score off of him.
Yeah, it's going to be, look, like I said, the question marks are, what Luis Garcia do we get, right? The 9.5 ERA one, or the one who was lights out in Boston against the Red Sox? What Ian Anderson do we get? Ian Anderson's 1-0 in the postseason, but has also had to leave a couple of games after 2 or 3 innings because he was getting sliced and diced. And which manager? Do you trust Dusty Baker to make the right decisions? Do you trust Brian Snitker to make the right? I mean, there are question marks that have to be answered on both sides of the baseball right now for both teams.
What I like is that there are options. There's a lot of options. We're not just stuck going, okay, we really have no decisions because there is no good options. I like a lot of those options. They're risky, some more than others, but I got a good feeling about tonight. I really do.
I'm glad to hear it. I don't, but that's not new. That's not new. Listen, I think I've done a pretty good job of being relatively
You're back
impartial.
on the panic button.
Oh yeah. The hand is hovering again.
Okay.
Yesterday I took it away. Today, hovering again.
We didn't even have a game last night.
It's a game day tradition for me.
What was the change? Goodness.
I was waiting for the Braves to lose yesterday. That's how bad it is. We're going to lose on a travel day. That's how bad it is. All right. 844 GSP ESPN 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We can read them on the air. Got more baseball to talk about on the show today. How about this story? There is a story going around of an illegal streamer, guy who stole broadcasts, who tried to extort Major League Baseball to the tune of $150,000. I got that story coming up for you later as well. My name is Rob Brown. DJ Drew on the ones and twos. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
South Carolina's leader in comics and games for over 30 years.
What is an anniversary follower? Yeah, I would guess so, Steven. I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest with you. I'm assuming that's what that means. I have never seen that pop up. So IDK?
Happy anniversary.
Shit. Happy anniversary to you.
Works 24/7 for material ordering, order history, and automated promotion tracking, so you can get your favorite GAF roofing products even when working remotely. And now, order on Beacon Pro Plus and get a $175 gift card and a chance for a VIP Pro Football getaway. Gear up and raise your games with Beacon Pro Plus today. Build, score, and win at BECN.com.
10 seconds.
Alrighty.
Made for upstate sports junkies.
These pathetic junkies? Come on, look at them.
You eat sports like food every day. Get hooked on the Rob Brown Show, noon to 3 every weekday on ESPN Upstate.
All right, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Let's get a couple of weird things in here before we head to our 3/4 hour break. A Minnesota man was charged yesterday with trying to extort $150,000 from Major League Baseball. 30-year-old Joshua Street of St. Louis Park, Minnesota, was charged in a criminal complaint filed in Manhattan federal court with extortion, accessing a protected computer to commit fraud for personal gain, wire fraud, and illicit digital transmission. Federal authorities said Street hacked into the computer systems of MLB, the NBA, the NFL, and the NHL to stream copyrighted live games before trying to extort $150,000 from Major League Baseball with threats to publicize alleged vulnerabilities in the MLB's internet infrastructure. Head of the New York FBI office, Michael Driscoll, said in a release that Street, also known as Josh Brody, quote, hacked into the system of several of our country's biggest professional sports leagues and illegally streamed copyrighted live games. Instead of quitting while he was ahead, he allegedly decided to continue the game by extorting one of the leagues, threatening to expose the very vulnerability he used to hack them. So just to start, not cool, not smart. All right. Theft is bad. And also don't be dumb. Like if you're going to steal from the store, don't walk back into the store with the candy bar and go, ha 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 ha, I stole this. Don't do that. Don't be an idiot. All right. That being said, do you know how dumb it is? I understand the concept behind it. But do you know how dumb it is to black out games in local markets when they're games that are tough to get to? Like I watched this year, the Braves would have like Wednesday 1:30 first pitches, right? Wednesday at 1:30 first pitch. That game's blacked out because Atlanta didn't say, it's Wednesday at 1:30. Of course they didn't sell out that game. It's Wednesday. at 1:30. I understand the premise behind it, right? Like if you aren't going to buy enough tickets to fill up the stadium and make us money as a team, as an organization, as a league, then we're just not going to show you the product, right? Like if you really want to watch this game, you're going to have to buy a ticket because it's blacked out everywhere. That being said, it's really dumb and I hate it. It's really dumb and I hate it, right? Like it's one of, I think one of many things that has led to my generation cutting cords. Drew, I think you're in this group too, right? You're a cord cutter? No cable at the house?
Right.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons that's led to us cutting cords as sports fans predominantly, not that I would, or have even considered going to an illegal streaming site and streaming a game that's not on TV. I would never do such a thing. But when I pay for the MLB, passport ticket, season pass, whatever, when I pay for that and you're still blocking out games from me, I become very tempted to definitely, for the first time ever, pull up a stream, pull up an illegal stream. Honestly, it blows my mind that these folks don't realize no one who already wasn't going to buy a ticket is going to go buy a ticket because the stadium didn't sell out, right? And it's not on TV. Oh, you blacked out my game. Guess I better pick up a ticket. That's not how it works. In fact, I would argue the opposite is going to be true. Because if I can watch 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 consecutive Braves games without them being blacked out, without having to worry where I'm going to find it, then guess what? I get excited about the Braves because I'm getting to watch them every day. I'm more intimate with the rotation. I know the lineup. I know the team. I know the coach. And now all of a sudden, Rob Brown buying a ticket to Truist Park and driving over to the ATL for a game isn't something that I only do because the boys wanted a day out of town. Now it's something that I go, yeah, I watch the Braves every day. I kind of want to go see them in person. Hey, you're still not going to sell out a Wednesday 1:30 p.m. game. But if there's a Thursday nighter at 7:30 at home at Truist, well, all of a sudden Ron Brown goes, hey, hour and 45-minute drive for a team I watch on TV all the time. I might as well go see him, right? It blows my mind the way that some of these TV packages have worked. And it's not just the blackouts, Drew, but it's how many of them there are.
I know. Yeah, it's just the idea is that if you black out a game, people will buy a ticket. Who doesn't want to go to an in-person event? I mean, that really does work if the majority of people are saying, man, I'm just not going to go in person ever. But that's the equivalent of basically saying, think of your favorite rock band that says you can hear our best hits if you come in person, but you're not allowed to hear the song prior to that. You're not going to know the lyrics. You're not going to know the tune. You have to come and see it for the first time in person. I just don't get that. I mean, what fan is just going, nah, I'm never going to go see them in person especially if there's not a blackout. Blackouts don't do anything for me. It really has caused a lot of disinterest in the sport, in my opinion. But I don't think they understand that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's kind of pointless for me to really jump into a season. It's going to be kind of dumb for me to really jump onto a team to then find out that I can only watch like 80% of their games or 75% of the games, right? And that's not to say I'm going to watch every game, but if the option's on the table, I'm much more likely to eventually buy a ticket because I can follow, I can keep up, I can keep my eyes on the team. So when I watch TV, Drew, when I watch TV, I very frequently get into this spot where if I miss 2 or 3 episodes of a show that's airing week by week, I just stop watching.
Yeah, it's hard to get back into it.
Yeah, I might come back around to it later,
but you
right?
got to catch up before you just jump back in, right?
Yeah, I might come back to it later. I might circle back around to it later. Might, maybe, possibly, potentially. I'll consider it. But I got to catch up first. And in baseball, with 161 damn games every year, if I miss 3-4 weeks, I mean, and this might just be me. It might just be me. But if I miss 12, 13, 14 consecutive games, like I bail out for a while, right? I'm out for a little while because I have no idea what's going on. And I can't, I do this with wrestling. I do this with, what was the show? 24 with Jack Bauer. I had to bail out at one point because I missed so many consecutive weeks that eventually I was like, I'll just have to grab it when it comes out on DVD, which is the playoffs, right? The playoffs of that show. I'm unsurprised that A, somebody would stream this much, and B, would threaten Major League Baseball, because let's be real. If this guy put out exactly how to go in and crack into and get MLB streams without getting caught, there'd be millions of people who do it.
Sure. And he's lucky. They're lucky that he was living in the U.S. If he was living in another country, I really don't know what they would do. I mean, he's got the technology, can hack, and it's probably only a matter of time before somebody in another country figures it out. But I mean, if this theory were true, wouldn't the Super Bowl always be empty? I'm not saying that every Braves game is the equivalent of a big event like the Super Bowl. I'm just saying the Super Bowl tickets are so expensive. You're not telling me there's that many millionaires who are just throwing around the money going, I'm just going to go to the Super Bowl for no reason, even though I can watch it on TV. Live events are fun to go to. We're going to keep buying these tickets. Trust me, even if you don't black out a single game, we're probably going to sell more tickets if you don't black out a single game.
If I can stay in touch, watch every game, stay in real close touch with the team, know what's going on, etc., the odds, and again, it's anecdotal, doesn't mean this is for sure, but the odds that I will buy a ticket go up significantly because I can go, okay, well, I know this guy's hot right now and this guy's not. I'm not missing anything, and I'm getting more than just Sports Center highlights. So I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And then on Thursday, there's a homer. So I'm heading on up there. Why not? The odds that I buy a ticket go up dramatically if you don't black out games. But this is one of those times, like it or not, and in this case, very not. This is one of those times where the short-term profit becomes what the eyes of these leagues turn to, right? Like they are looking at the short term. They are looking into the short-term profit of a situation. They're looking at how can we make money now instead of how can we make or make money in the grand scheme. Not blocking out games makes you more money in the long run, right? It's just sustainability, because fans that are more connected to their teams are going to buy more tickets and go to more games and be much more willing to follow their teams across different channels when you put them on in prime time, which is where you get big time national advertising from. It just makes sense.
My first game was the Braves and Cardinals. And when I went to that game, I was so excited to be able to see my favorite player at the time, Mark McGwire, and he wasn't playing that game. And I never saw him again after that. I mean, just he wasn't on television much after that. And so then he retired soon after. But I just remember my first baseball game. I was like, man, I'm going to get to go see him in person. I can never find him on TV. And yeah, it just kind of dwindled after that. After that, I really did lose interest in baseball.
Again, that's it, right? Like if games were more accessible, if every game, like MLB Network, if there was an MLB Net with multi-channels where you could watch any game you wanted any day, I'm watching so much more baseball than I currently do. As opposed to a lot of people who tune in for the first 2 weeks of the season, tune in for the All-Star break and the first 2 weeks after the All-Star break, tune in for the last week and a half of the regular season, and then they're watching the playoffs, which the numbers are up. We got our Game 2 numbers in. We're going to talk about those later in the show. I know it's one of those things that if you look at it from the perspective of how do we enhance the short-term profit, black out the games, make people buy tickets. Problem is they're not going to. Because if they can't watch their team on TV repeatedly, they're not going to go. They're not going to buy tickets. They don't know the team. That's just how it works. The biggest problem you have, and I've talked with local sports leaders in every town that I have ever broadcasted in. You know what the hardest thing to do and the most successful thing that a local team can do in order to sell more tickets? Make the team accessible to the fans.
Right.
Let the fans show up and meet the players, meet the coach, talk to them, engage with them, learn about them, get their backstories, because now I feel connected. Now I got a reason to go, okay, Swamp Rabbits play at home on a Wednesday at 7:30. I'm going to go down and support whoever.
Yeah.
Liam Pecoraro, because I met him the other day, and he's a great dude, and these guys different. But if they don't, in fact, every time I ask Drew, how do we get people more engaged with the Triumph, with the Swamp Rabbits, with the Drive? The one text I get every time from different people is, these guys come and go. These players are in and out. There's no identity to the team. It's just a jersey.
Yep.
Well, baseball, you have a better opportunity to fix that than local sports do. Blacking out the games doesn't help you do that.
Text comes in, Rob, there's some cool websites where you can watch every game. And I agree. We know that you can get access to this stuff, but I walked into a sports bar in July, and every television, we knew there were games happening, but every television was watching something obscure. Bowling on ESPN, poker, dart throwing, stupid HBO, how to build a house, manly shows. And it's just, there's a baseball game on, but when I walk into a sports bar, I should see 6 different ball games happening during that time. And you can't find them. That drove me absolutely insane.
That's part of the blackout, right? Part of the blackout is I can't go down to the sports bar with the boys. If I want to watch the game and I got to stream it off one of these websites, I got to stay at home because the bar ain't going to do it. The bar gets cut.
You can't stream that.
Yeah. So I got to sit on the couch, invite the boys over, and that's, hey, I don't want to hang out with people. Ugh. Quick break. Back after this to wrap up hour number 1 of the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Keep up to date with every real time ESPN Upstate score stream. ESPN Upstate time. And follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays happen and when the games go final. The ESPN Upstate score stream. Get all the high school football scores in one place at ESPNUpstate.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Lowe's Provember event is back, and we're thanking pros like you all month long with buy one get one free deals on select DeWalt power tools and top values like a Spider 2-pack 4.5-inch diamond cutoff wheels for $14.98. Join us for Provember, going on now through November 24th. Shop in store or at Lowe's.com/Provember. Lowe's, a new home for pros. While supplies last, U.S. only, valid 10/28/2024.
Did you know that you might be overpaying for your prescription? It's okay. There's an easy, convenient solution. Check GoodRx. GoodRx lets you compare prices at different pharmacies and choose a rate at the lowest price. Here's Joe, the doctor and GoodRx customer. GoodRx is helping millions of people, and it can help you too. For simple, smart savings, check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance. In 2020, GoodRx users saved an average of 79% on treatment prices. Individuals visit GoodRx.com/radio to learn more.
This feature sponsored by Indeed. Hiring for an open job shouldn't morph into a full-time job. Indeed is the smart hiring platform that delivers 4 times more hires than all other sites combined, according to Talent Nest. Post a job and hire ASAP. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at
This almost back times perfectly into the ID, so I'll just play your intro, I guess.
Oh, so we're not coming back on
I
air?
don't think
That's
so.
perfectly fine. Good.
Yeah.
I got to do the rest of it.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40, but the solution is simple. Find it at yourhims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packaging.
Hims took care of it. Fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever. Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to forhims.com/joy to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to forhims.com/joy. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
This report is paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. COVID hospitalizations of young people have tripled since the start of summer. So talk to your doctor if you've got vaccine questions. We can do this. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
WorldofMap.com presents the Sports Flash on ESPN Upstate. World Series Game 3 tonight in Atlanta. The series tied at 1-1. First pitch just after 8 Eastern. Atlanta starts at right-hander Ian Anderson. The Astros will go with righty Louis Garcia. NFL this Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock kickoff between the Falcons and Panthers in Atlanta. Carolina 3-4. The Falcons are 3-3. Carolina trying to snap a 4-game skid. They got routed last week against the Giants on the road 25-3. The Falcons have won 2 straight, including last Sunday's 30-28 win at Miami. Carolina hoping to have defensive back C.J. Henderson and linebacker Shaq Thompson in the lineup. Both have been limited at practice this week. Falcons defensive backs A.J. Terrell and Avery Williams, both a little banged up, but should be good. Classic Rock 101.1 airs Carolina Panthers football every Sunday. Carolina kickoff starts 2 hours before kickoff.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah. Shameless plug.
Follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays happen and when the games go viral.
10 seconds.
Get all the high school football scores in one place at ESPNUpstate.com. Warning.
And check this out.
For unofficial Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Locked down.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show gets going now. Welcome in, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages. I am the Rob Brown Show. No, I'm not. I am Rob Brown. This is the Rob Brown Show. Big difference. Drew, I got to tell you,
Your identity is this show.
So last night, the lady friend was a little bit under the weather, not feeling great. So I went, we decided to do the night in, and we carved a pumpkin, did some jack-o'-lanterns, put on hocus pocus, did some Halloween stuff for her to get her mind off of it. And then at like 10:45, she goes, I think I'm going to bake an apple cobbler. Like 10:45, just bakes an apple, but like that's just a thing she decided to do.
All right.
I am going to bake an apple cobbler. 10:45 at night. And of course, my response was, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
This sounds like a great idea, babe. What can I do to help? Nothing. Just sit over there, watch your football game.
I can defrost the ice cream for you.
Whatever. So, and when I say bake, I mean like bake an apple cobbler, like from scratch. Just puts the whole thing together. So she puts this apple cobbler together. And then, this morning, wake up, get ready. She stops by and she's like, here. And she hands me a big old Tupperware thing, and she has put the apple cobbler into this Tupperware thing. She's like, take it to work, or, leave it in the fridge, have it after work before the hockey game tonight. I just, I wanted to bake you an apple cobbler. #keeper.
Man.
So the mistake that I made, Drew, was that I got to work today, came in a little earlier, got here about 9 o'clock, a little earlier than I usually do. I'm usually here about 9:30, 10 o'clock or so, because I'm usually here till like 6, 7 at night. Anyway, I made the mistake. I bring in the apple cobbler because there's a microwave downstairs, and I'm thinking, all right, do the show, get done. Maybe I'll eat like, a half of this apple cobbler. And it wasn't a big one. It was like a serving size. Well, not a serving size, but like 2 serving sizes.
All right.
I'm like, all right, take half of it, put it in the microwave, have it for a little snacky snack after the show. Take the other half home, be a little pre-road trip sugar rush before I drive to Clemson. I'm going to the Clemson Florida State game tomorrow. So a little pregame warm up tomorrow. I got here, Drew, and I'm doing the show prep at about 11 o'clock. I think to myself, why wait till after the show? Let's get a little apple cobbler going. So I bring the thing downstairs to the microwave in the break room, and I cut the apple cobbler in half, and I put half on a plate to microwave. And then I look and go, well, I mean,
not enough.
That's not a big enough piece, I just eat the whole thing.
Right.
Thinking to myself, I'll just eat the whole thing. So I take the apple cobbler, the other half of it, put it on the plate, microwave it, warm it up, knock it down. While I'm sitting in the office doing show prep, finishing up the outline, knock it down. And it was, of course, absolutely spectacular. She did a killer job. An 11 p.m. apple cobbler, life's good. So I ate the whole thing, and about 10 minutes before showtime, I'm like, let's go! And then about 30 minutes into showtime, I'm like, So there's baseball on tonight.
Rob,
what?
You need some Red Bull in that apple cobbler next time.
That's all this is.
Yeah.
It's
there it is.
Can of caffeine. Just liquid concentrated can. I didn't even go get like a Red Bull. I went and got like the back of the cooler. There's literally a poisonous snake printed on it.
Yeah, I think that's illegal in like 3 countries right there.
I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, like they sell this soda by the gram. All right, that's how potent this stuff is. So I'm going through the last hour, and the Madre texted me and goes, "Do you feel okay, or did you eat too much apple cobbler?" And I, as a fast, had to go. It was too much apple cobbler. And she's like, well, it's 10:15, it's 10:30 in the morning, or 12:30 in the afternoon. Yeah.
Your point?
Yeah. And I ate the apple cobbler before that.
Right.
Because I'm an adult, and if I want to have an apple cobbler at 10:45 in the morning, get off me. That's why. You know why I ate apple cobbler? Because there was apple cobbler. That's why I ate it.
I really appreciate you not eating it during the show. Do you know how awkward it is to produce a show and you can hear someone cooking dinner and starting to eat during commercial breaks? It drives me absolutely insane. So yeah, my hat's off to you for eating your breakfast before you come in. And if your breakfast is a Cinnabon or an apple cobbler, whatever dessert you want, dessert's not just for breakfast anymore. It's for any time during the day, but it starts at breakfast.
Here's what I know. I know that if I came in here and I was banging down apple cobbler while we were on the air together, I would have had to share, and I didn't want to do that.
No.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah,
so
you would have had
and
to.
Here's the thing: I feel less rude just telling you after it's gone.
Sure,
I ate it because I didn't want to share.
Right.
Than if I would have ate it and gone.
Not sharing.
I'm not sharing this with you. Like, it's one thing to tell somebody, yeah, I ate all the apple cobbler, I didn't share, versus, oh, this is so good. So good. Back up. Back up. I will stab you with a plastic fork. Back up. Let's talk sports, shall we? 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Start your text with ESPN. We will read them on the air. Game 3 of the World Series is tonight, 8:09 p.m. First pitch time in Anderson on the Hill in the bottom half for the Atlanta Bravos. The top half of the inning will be piloted by Luis Garcia of the Houston Astros. This one's going to be interesting. This is a game that, look, what do you call a game that's as close to a must-win game as you can have, but it's not actually one?
There needs to be a word for that. We need to look that up in German. I'm sure they have a word for it. A must-win game that is not a must-win game.
Schneichenfruken. It's German. I don't know, but that's what this is for the Braves, right?
Because yesterday you played the whole word game with me. I feel like you.
I got more today, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got more coming up.
You're just going to make up words now that are your own, but that is the definition of a must-win game that is not technically a must-win game, but if you don't win the game, you're pretty much done. I don't feel that way about Game 3. If you lose Game 3 and then come back and win Game 4, it's the same thing, right?
Yes, except for Game 4 is a bullpen game, right? You don't have a starter for Game 4. You've got your entire cast of bullpen characters. And I get really uncomfortable with bullpen games because all it takes is one of the 7 guys that are going to do an inning to an inning 0.2. All it takes is one of them to have a bad day. And the Astros run up 4 or 5 runs against the guy. And the problem is you can't do anything about it, right? All it takes is one of 6 or 7 guys to have a bad day on the hill in the World Series. Now, you know, in the wild card round, well, not wild card because it's just the one game, but in the divisional round, hey, bullpen games are going to happen. Even in the championship series, they're going to happen. But you've got, you know, I hesitate to say the 2 best teams in baseball because I think the Dodgers and the Giants season long were the best 2 teams in baseball.
That's fair.
But you got the 2 hottest teams in baseball right now.
Exactly.
A bullpen game with 7 guys going or 6 guys going, all it takes is one of those to give up 3 or 4 runs and the game's over.
Yeah.
Right? So I do not want to go down 2-1 to Houston with a bullpen game upcoming.
Yeah.
Now, if we're up 2-1 and you got to put out a bullpen game in Game 4, I'm a little more comfortable because one guy's okay, fine, we're 2-2, but now we're back to the top of the rotation, right? Now we're back at the top. Even without Charlie Morton, we're now back to the top of the rotation. I
just don't want fans to confuse my excitement of possibilities with devastation later that we can't do this. I was all excited about Game 2. You know, what if we put them away nice and early and just totally, you know, that was just what ifs. It's not realistic. I'm not putting money on that. What if we lose Game 3 and come back and win Game 4? Game 5, Halloween night, is still anybody's game, but you're saying Game 4 is basically going to be Astros win. Almost guaranteed. Much higher chance.
Much higher chance. Astros will be favored against a bullpen Braves game.
I agree they're favored, but if the Braves win that one, you know, it's crazy to think that they fall in Game 3 and then win Game 4 with the bullpen, but what does that mean for Game 5? Even less of a chance of the Braves winning is what you're saying.
If the Braves win game 3, you can go bullpen in game 4. You go bullpen in game 4, Astros have a better chance of winning because they've got one more starter in the rotation. They're going to throw their final starter at you since you had to dig into your bullpen early. Astros win game 4, cool. Now it's a 2-2 series. You've surrendered home field back since 6 or 7 are in Houston, but you take 2 or 3, win game 5 in Atlanta, and then all you got to do is split 1-1 on the road. But if you lose game 3 and the Astros have an elevated chance of winning game 4 because you're going bullpen game, you might be sitting down 3-1 and need to win 3 of 3, including the back 2 being a pair in Houston.
That's
Not
tough.
great odds.
No.
Not great odds. I don't know that tonight is a must win, but if the Braves do not win tonight, game 4 and 5 are absolutely must wins. You cannot go to Houston, Drew, needing to win 2 of 2 on the road. All right. Even though the Astros are what? They're 1-7, 1-6 in their last 7 at home.
Yeah.
The 1 is against you, right? If the Astros were 0-7 or 0-8 in their last few games at home, then I might go, hey, they're not a great home team. They got us at home, but they're not a great home team. We can go win too. But the 1 in the 1-7 came against you 5 days ago. I don't want to have to go to Houston needing to win 2. If Houston leaves Atlanta with 2 wins, series is over. All right? Series is over. If you were Atlanta, you must win 2 of the 3. Now, best thing in the world would be just go win all 3 and win the World Series in Atlanta. But realistically, this is a great Houston Astros team. If the Braves do 1 out of 2, they will not win the World Series. They must take 2 out of 3, Drew. That's how I feel about it.
Agreed. It would just be so strange if they lost game 3, won game 4, won game 5. That would just be so astronomically weird.
If they're going to go 2 or 3, game 3, game 5.
Yeah.
Those are the 2.
That's the
Be super sweet to win a bullpen game in game 4. But I'll say this way. If you win game 4, it needs to be because you swept and you just won the thing in Atlanta, right? If
Possible.
you win game 4, you need to sweep this because you need to take game 3 and you need to take game 5 with whoever is the starter. I'm assuming Max Fried will be the starter in game 5. It would have been Charlie Morton, right?
Yeah.
Actually, Morton probably would have been game 4 on 3 days rest. But at least you'd have had that option. Now, if Charlie Morton's not hurt, if that leg doesn't get cracked, if Big Game Charlie isn't hurt, I love the Braves taking 2 or 3 because Morton's getting you a win. That's all he's done is win, no matter what. Got money on his mind. Ain't never going to give it up. Big Game Charlie would have been good for 1 win. Now, I need a win out of Anderson on one end or a win out of Max Fried on the other. But now, I got to have a win out of Ian Anderson and I've got to have a win out of Max Fried, and the bullpen game would be a nice little bonus. Whatever you do, if you do not sweep in Atlanta, Drew, if you don't go back to Houston up 3-2, you're not winning the World Series. It's that simple to me.
Yeah, and the Braves win tonight with game 3 is a great promising thing. I agree. If they drop game 4, that's very much expected. Astros will be favored tomorrow. But if the Braves end up winning game 3 and game 4, you've got to be thinking Halloween night is the night of destiny. It's very possible they just don't want to go back to Houston, period.
Oh, dude, if they win game 3, they win game 3 tonight, and they're mashing the ball, chance for a sweep's there. All right, if they're mashing the ball, because tomorrow, I suspect that tomorrow's game, if you're the Braves, you got to put like 8 on the board, right?
Yeah.
You got the Astros are averaging, what is it? What did we say it was? 6.7 runs per game in the postseason?
Right.
If you win game 3 and you put 8 on the board on Saturday night, I suspect at that point that you may very well sweep. But it starts with tonight. If the Braves lose tonight, I think at this point, I know it's early. People are going to call me a clown, whatever. If the Braves lose the game tonight, they lose the World Series. I honestly believe that. Tonight I'm going to go ahead and declare tonight a must win. You lose tonight and you go down 1-2 with Houston getting 2 more, including a bullpen game. And honestly, game 7 might be a bullpen game for Atlanta too, depending on how Snicker decides to manage it.
Right.
Game 7 might be. I do not want to be in Houston with a bullpen game in game 7 for the World Series.
No.
If you win tonight, you got a really good chance to win the World Series, whether you win game 4 or not. But if you lose tonight with Ian Anderson on the hill and you got to rest him for 3 days, Atlanta Braves will not win this World Series.
You've laid the foundation in a way that really describes it, because you said Fried would have to win game 5.
Has to.
I mean, that's just really tough. We've already seen. So,
all right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN is the number to be a part of the program. Shoot us a text on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Let's take a break. We're back after this. Talk some football on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Four-minute break. Be right back.
Yep. All right, what do we got in the chat? The chat commands aren't enabled, and I don't honestly, Tracy, I don't know if. Let me see if there's a. I don't think there is a chat command for StreamYard, which is what we're using. We use StreamYard. Let me see if there's not a chat command, unfortunately, to use like there are on other sites. And yes, it is Venom. It is Venom Energy. It is pretty solid, and I dig it because it effectively is Red Bull. But it's like $1.09 a can or something. So, what's a Red Bull now? Like $4 for a Red Bull. This stuff's like $1.09 a can. So about every 3 weeks, I'll go to there's a Red Robin. I don't know, something Robin gas station right across the street, right across Woodruff from the radio station. And about every 3 weeks, I'll go in there and just buy their entire stock of the Fruit Punch Black Mamba Venom. And Lonzo and I definitely do not have a mini fridge in our office because that's not allowed. So we definitely don't have one. We just have a box that's mildly shaped like a refrigerator. And so about every 3 weeks, I'll go buy the entire stock of these. It cost me $12 to fill up for 2 or 3 weeks. Line up the bottom shelf and restock.
is that a Fanta drink, Black Mamba?
No, it's called Venom Energy.
Oh, okay. I have a friend who was a missionary kid to Africa, and he said you could buy this Fanta Black only in Africa, but you find it here in the U.S.
What is the flavor? Cherry?
He said it was a special kind of fruit there in Zambia or
Fanta
something. That's
black.
It was such a unique taste. But I was like,
oh, there it is.
Challenge accepted. I was going to try to find it when I went to the
Blood Orange.
Yeah,
they have one called Fanta Dark Mystery.
Ooh, that sounds like a Halloween special,
right? Apparently, they have out Fanta Halloween themes, including Dark Orange and Blood Orange.
Oh, I've heard of the.
I like a Fanta.
10 seconds.
That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
We're not here to take part. We're here to take over. Named the best sports talk show in South Carolina. The Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
All right, got a couple of texts in about the Braves on Twitter. My buddy Red tweets in. Red, what up, fella? Good to hear from you, big dog. Red said, out of the past 23 World Series, the team that won Game 1 has gone on to win 20 of them. Well, I know, and that's great. And again, as a Braves fan, yes, let's go Bravos. Okay? I'm in the corner. However, 3 times the team that won Game 1 has not won the World Series, and I know that this is not real, all right? Curses aren't real. It's not a real thing, but yes, they are, and yes, it is, and it's the Braves. So, you know what I mean?
Little stitious.
Yes, as Michael Scott would say, I am not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So, you know, that I think that's why I'm putting so much into laying out why Game 3 is as important as it is. I'm declaring Game 3 a must win because I'm assuming, hey, bro, I don't have any reason to other than bullpen games typically are lower percentage win rates. I'm assuming Game 4 is an L. And if you give up 3 and they take 4, you find yourself down 3-1. You have got to make a Herculean comeback, including taking 2 of 2 from the Astros in Houston. But Rob, the Astros are like 1-7 in their last 8 at home in the World Series. I know that. But who was the one? You 3 days ago. That was it, right? It is a must win. Texter says, Rob, how do the Braves sweep when the series is tied 1-1? I said sweep Atlanta.
Right.
Sweep all 3 games in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Sweep all 3 games in Atlanta, the World Series is over. It's not a World Series sweep, but if you sweep in Atlanta,
yeah,
you're done. You don't need to go back to Houston, which is obviously, and I know I'm not shaking any limbs here, the desired result. But I also understand the likelihood is Houston's taken 1, probably Game 4, which makes 3 and 5 required, so that when you go back to Houston, you just got to take 1 of 2.
Exactly.
Knowing that 7 is probably a bullpen game because of Charlie Morton's injury. Rob, I don't have a TV. I rely on radio for my sports. I enjoy listening versus watching. You know, I got to tell you, I was thinking about that because, you know, we're carrying the World Series live right here on ESPN Upstate.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so the last couple of games, as I've been sitting at the house, have turned on the TV, but then synced up the radio call to the TV, right? Like I'll pause the TV and then match the radio call to the TV. I love some radio baseball. And maybe it's just because I'm in the game, but I've always loved radio baseball. I honestly wish that it was easier to get, right? Because unless you're in the market, like there are a lot of stations that carry the local team. But if you're out of an MLB market, it's tough to do. I have taken to streaming legally through the websites of the stations.
You can usually find it, right?
Yeah, I'll go to the home radio station of whatever team I'm trying to listen to and stream it through them. Right. I love some radio baseball.
Sure.
Texter, ESPN, Braves in 5 would be special, but I believe Braves in 6 is more realistic. Either way, this team is special, and there's no doubt they will win this series. # Braves country, end quote. 6 or 7, right? 6 or 7. 6 is more likely than 7 because 6 you're putting probably Ian Anderson back on the hill on the road. He's been good on the road. Ian Anderson goes to the hill for Game 6 on the road. Game 7 is probably a bullpen game because Fried's going to go in Game 5. You have Max Fried in game number 2. Sorry, Ian Anderson in game number 2. Max Fried in game number 3. It was Max Fried in game number 2. Ian Anderson tonight in game number 3. So Fried, his 3-day rest, if he goes 3.5-day rest, will put him in for Game 5, which means Ian Anderson in game number 6 on, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days rest. Should be big, right? Anderson's got tonight to pitch. He gets a rest day for Game 4, rest day for Game 5, rest day for travel, and then pitches Game 6 in Houston the day after that, which is what, Tuesday of next week. So that's your best bet. If it goes to 7, you're looking at a bullpen game. You probably have Fried in the bullpen available to throw an inning or two on very short rest. Then you've got obviously, Matzik and Jackson or the rest of those guys good to go. Let's see. ESPN, it's been declared a Bones weekend. Braves win when it's a Bones day. Braves take all 3.
You know what that is?
I have no blanking clue what a Bones day is.
Let me tell you what it is. It is a TikTok trend, your favorite.
Big fan.
Where a TikTok user has a pug named Noodle, and Noodle has bones. Every day, Graziano will prop up 13-year-old Noodle to see if he will stand flopping down like a noodle. These days on which Noodle stands is a Bones Day. The day he falls are Nose Bones Day. So Noodle's fate has impacted people's lives on the No Bones days. They're associated with taking it easy and relaxing. But if it's a Bones Day, you take risks and you go out there. So is it a Bones Day or No Bones Day? October 29th is a Bones Day. October 28th is a Bones Day. So today, Bones Day, we take risks. But doesn't that work for both teams? Can't the Astros also use TikTok and say the same thing? I don't know. The great debate that Rob Brown is literally wondering how in the world do I just go to commercial break right now? But I have the controls and it's not 1:30 yet. Sorry. Is it a Bones Day? Yes, it is. Does that mean the Braves win? Absolutely.
So a guy has a dog. And if the dog stands up, the Braves win. And if the dog falls down, the Braves lose. You know what? I'll take all the good juju we can get. Give me all the gree we can muster right now. Give me all the good voodoo. All the hexes we can get.
And now it's 1:30.
Bones Day. Well, let's get Bones Day. Texter says, I think I just got stupider by you telling me that. Texter, if it's any consolation, my brain just went to like the TV static thing where it's just
could literally see your brain just frying with no response. Absolutely none. Your IQ dropped. You're welcome.
Live your life the way you want to live your life. Unless you're on TikTok, and then live your life differently because you're not doing it right. All right. Bones Day. All right. We're back on Bones Day. The Rob Brown Show's back after this on ESPN Upstate. Bones Day.
To be fair, I had no idea what that was 30 seconds ago.
Okay, so you were reading it.
I was reading
obviously.
it. I'm not a TikTok user.
The thing is, like, I've seen Bones Day on Twitter before. But like most things in my life, I just ignored it and moved on to not that.
I just assumed people smarter than me like created something that was cool.
No, they did not.
Not in this.
No, they did not. Bones Day. So this is why I needed official show Millennial Keegan in here to explain this to me.
Yeah, that, or I wonder if Alonzo would have been able to do that.
Absolutely not.
No, there's no way. So I was able to fill in those gaps.
Enjoy the taste of football too. Hand-tossed pies, hoagies, wings, meatballs, hot pretzels, and over 100 beers from around the world. Mellow Mushroom, on Augusta Street in Greenville's West End.
The float artist at Fred's Floral just took off days before the parade. They need a replacement before business passes them by. Indeed can help them hire great people fast. Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply. Let's be clear. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket. Heavy mop around. Then clean them off when you're done, so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet. With Swiffer Wet Rat, we start with a ever. When you're done, you just wash the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Get stylish, durable flooring for your home that will last a lifetime. And get it installed with help from Lowe's. Get Stainmaster Pet Protect carpet starting at just $1.99 per square foot. And Cargo Wet Protect laminate starting at $2.49 per square foot. Both with limited lifetime warranties. Order now only at Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. Install in-store only and for independent contractors. See Lowe's.com for details and licensing. U.S. only. See Lowe's.com product detail page for more warranty information.
It takes 2 vaccines to help protect you this season, the flu and COVID-19. And now you can get both shots at the same visit. Learn more at cdc.gov/vaccines.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
The 2005 Texas Longhorns began the season ranked number 2 and stayed there all season. Their defense allowed only 16 points per game, while their Vince Young-led offense averaged 50. The Longhorns went on to face USC in the BCS National Championship game against top-ranked USC, winning 41-38 in what many consider one of the greatest college football games ever played.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
You know that feeling when your team adds that one player that has every skill they've been looking for? Well, it's time your business knew how it felt too. LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 770 million professionals to find the right people for your role. Then their filtering and prioritization tools help you narrow down to just the most qualified candidates for you. It's why small businesses
10 seconds.
Okay.
increasing the quality of hire versus leading competitors. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/sports. That's linkedin.com/sports.
More than the scores, the ups and downs, the ins and outs. Real, unfiltered sports talk. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
All right, the Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Drew, top 2 reasons that Clemson beats Florida State this weekend. What are they?
Their offense is coming back. They played better against Pittsburgh than I expected. I know Clemson fans don't want to hear that. We played terrible. We expected to win. Listen, Pittsburgh is awesome. They're phenomenal. They're great. They've done everything they needed to do except for a very terrible, terrible loss at the beginning of their season in the hopes of a playoff run. The coach just said we have to put that behind us and do the best we can this season, but their Heisman candidate quarterback has played his heart out, a 5th-year senior who will, in my mind, undoubtedly be a first-round draft pick, was able to put up some great points and put his team in position to cover the spread, didn't they? 27-17? Yeah.
3.5 points.
Well, they were 3.5, not 10. Yeah. So Florida State is a 9.5-point underdog. And I keep saying Clemson's going to score 21 points because that seems to be the cap of where they go in a game like this. But the more I think about it, they score 24. I think they get the run game going against this Florida State defense. I think they get a little bit of pass protection since they get the run game going. They're able to open up that passing game a little bit more with man-on-man coverage.
No Kobe Pace, by the way. Remember, Kobe Pace is out due to COVID protocols. He was really the only guy that had been consistent with it. I say consistent. He had what against Cuse? He had what right at a hundo, and then kind of slacked, but about as close as you could get.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. But I think the second reason is that Florida State had some major turnover problems that they seemed to clean up. And I was like, this Florida State offense is putting it together until they reach this hard-hitting defense that will all of a sudden, I could see it now, the commentators going, we thought this problem was going away, and it's resurrected its ugly head with the turnovers. Florida State, in my mind, will turn it over 3 times. The problems do not just fix themselves overnight, and I think Clemson creates a little bit of bait game in the passing game and then hits hard enough to create some fumbles.
Reasons why Clemson lose.
Well, they're not scoring.
That's it, right? Like
if they score only 17 points, Florida State's going to send that thing to overtime.
The Noles dropped 59 on UMass. And I don't want this to come as a great surprise to anybody, but UMass is the second worst college football team on the planet at this level.
Jacksonville State is way better.
Jacksonville State is way better. That is a fact. That being said, Drew hit the hammer there. There were some major problems for Florida State, specifically with hanging on to the football earlier in the year. Those have been, I don't want to say rectified, because again, UMass, but they protected the ball. They secured the ball. They didn't let the ball get away from them. They went out there to dictate. They went out there to dictate instead of be dictated to, as Jacksonville State did, as North Carolina did, as Notre Dame. By the way, and now here's what's interesting. Remember, this FSU team took Notre Dame in their best game to overtime and were a ice the kicker moment away from beating the Irish. North Carolina is not what I thought they were going to be coming into this year, but FSU beat North Carolina straight up, right? I don't know what team shows up on Saturday. If you're Clemson, you better hope it's the one that lost to Jacksonville State, not the one that took Notre Dame to overtime and beat North Carolina. Because that, if we didn't have the loss to Notre Dame, let's say they don't lose that one, they don't ice the kicker and lose that one, and let's say they don't lose to Jacksonville State, and instead of being 0-4 to start the season and then winning 3 in a row and going 3-4, let's take 2 wins and move them over. If this team's 5-2 with a great game against Notre Dame, a win over North Carolina, no loss to an FCS team.
Their only losses would be Wake Forest and Louisville.
Undefeated Wake Forest, by the way.
Not bad.
Top 15 program right now in Wake Forest. And then you've got Louisville, who's not great by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, I don't know, the confidence. Here's what I'm saying. 9.5 seems like a big number, right? For a Clemson team that has not put up 20 in regular time against an FBS opponent. And for a Florida State team that took Notre Dame to overtime, beat Carolina, and put up a 59 spot, which is what you're supposed to do against UMass. You're supposed to go get 60 on a school like UMass. They've done what they're supposed to do the last 3 weeks. It's relatively simple to me here, Drew. It's relatively simple here to me. If you are Clemson, even without Kobe Pace, Lynn J. Dixon transfer portal, so you're down to your what? Mufa's the what? 3rd string running back now that's getting the start this weekend? You still got to run the ball. You still got to run the ball.
And they will. They can.
I'm going to tell you this. FSU's interior defensive line, when they're on, it's good. They got some top-tier recruits that have played defensive line there for FSU. When they're on, they're good. You have to run the ball at them, like a lot. I'm sorry to say it, but at this point, I don't want this game to be in the hands of DJ Uiagalelei late. I just don't. He's not there. All right?
They're not a comeback team. Yeah.
Nope. That's the other thing you can't do. I'm glad you said that, because the other thing I had on my notes, Drew, the other thing you can't do is you cannot let FSU out to an early lead. Cannot let FSU out to an early lead. If FSU goes up 14 and they start playing with some confidence, that's what happened with Notre Dame, remember? Now, Notre Dame jumped out early, but the third quarter, Florida State swarmed back. They started playing with some confidence. They look like a whole different football team. North Carolina, this team had confidence because, remember, last year they got North Carolina, and they came out with some swag in that game. The problem that you have created for yourself if you were the Clemson Tigers is that everybody's looking at you. Everybody on your schedule is looking at Clemson and going, this team's beatable, and we got about 7 years worth of frustration to take out on them, right? You're going to get FSU's best shot, I think. You're going to get their best shot, I think. You better be ready to take one on the jaw, and do not let FSU jump out ahead of you early, because if they jump out ahead early, Clemson's not a team that plays from behind because they can't throw the ball well, right? You have to set the pace, not have the pace set. And I know that's kind of a cliche, but Drew, what we mean there is if you find yourself in the third quarter, fourth quarter, down a score and a half to the point that you got to throw the ball, ain't your strong point right now. You're playing to your weakness having to play catch up as opposed to setting the pace and telling FSU, this is going to be a slow game. It's going to be methodical. We're not going to let you get outside the pocket and run around. And when we have the ball, we're going to keep Travis on the sideline. We're not going to let him run up and down the field like he did against North Carolina.
Well, this is why I think people are overlooking how good Florida State possibly could be, is because we saw a trend throughout the season that whenever they had a loss, the very next week, they had a drop-off. So they played Notre Dame almost as good as Cincinnati played Notre Dame. Now, that game was a little more defensively minded, and this one was more of a shootout, but Florida State showed they could score. They lost just a heartbreaker, and I think it wasn't just totally out of reach to say that they overlooked Jacksonville State. They looked ahead toward Wake Forest, and they dropped it. Just had a letdown of a week. They lost to Wake Forest, then had another letdown, and lost to Louisville. And here's what's interesting about the schedule. Put up 33 points on Syracuse, close game. Played better against North Carolina back on October 9th, and then had a bye week, and then a warm-up game on the 23rd. They're ready to go. They're ready to score 30-something points. I don't think Clemson's defense will allow for that, but Florida State does have the potential to score.
100%.
It's not going to be a shutout.
No, I don't see a shutout coming at all.
If that score at halftime is 10-0 Florida State, Clemson just seems to go into panic mode, and we saw that when they got behind in Pittsburgh the third quarter. The wheels just seemed to come off, and DJ has pulled. I still don't really know if I agree with that call. It was a terrible shuttle pass.
It was for sure.
But it was not like he overshot receivers all day. He just didn't see that linebacker.
Here's the problem I've had with DJ in a spot like this. It's not that he overthrows receivers, Drew, so much as it is that he has zero finesse with the football. There's no touch throw from DJ. It's like every throw, his aim is to get the ball there as quickly as possible. And in a lot of throws, that's right? You want to have the ball. You want to be releasing as the receiver comes out of the break, and you want that ball on him by the time his head turns out of the break. So he just turned, boom, ball. That's what you want. However, when you're going up top, when you're going up over, right? You're throwing a corner route, you're throwing a fade route, when you're throwing a post route, you got to get the ball up over the defender and over the shoulder, and he doesn't have that pass right now.
I thought the pass to Shipley was actually full of finesse. It hit Shipley right on the chest, and I don't know if Shipley ever saw it coming, but that was devastating. Would have been a touchdown.
But I guess that's my point, right? I hate to say it because it was a good throw if Shipley turns his head one, and maybe it's on Shipley. If he turns his head 2 steps earlier, he's 6 in that, right? He's housing it.
I don't see how that's DJ's fault.
Again, it may not be. I don't know what the route was. I don't know where the break was. I've watched it a number of times. I don't know if he didn't turn his head quick enough, or if DJ threw it too early in the route and he needed another 2 steps.
And he's throwing it early because he does feel rushed. He is not comfortable back there because that line.
Sure.
And that line is just terrible, and that's where it starts.
I put him in the same box that I put Sam Darnold right now, and that now I will say I think Uiagalelei is a bit more at fault than Sam Darnold. Okay, I think he's a bit more at fault because, like I said, even when he does have opportunities, he tends to laser rocket the ball in spots where it needs to be more finessed in. But I also agree that I think that actually may be a result of being under a ton of pressure, maybe a result of knowing them guys is coming. Texter says, ESPN, you see my area code. I got a fellow 850er in the house. Okay. Them Florida boys, though. Got an 850 texter. That's my home base, man.
I didn't know what he was referring to.
Yeah, the 850.
Ah.
That's from I guess just to the east of Tallahassee all the way to Pensacola. You see my area code, you know who I'm going for. I'm just glad it's not so lopsided this game. Looking forward to the game. Yeah, we'll see, man.
It's not lopsided for sure.
9.5 is, again, it's still a big number. I think most of us thought it would be like a 6.5 point spread.
When has Clemson covered the spread yet?
Yeah, fair. Texas says DJ Uiagalelei is Jake Bentley reincarnated. Hit the guy in the chest so hard he might need a stretcher. Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Right? He is putting the ball in good spots. About 15 miles an hour faster than it needs to go for a lot of them.
Right.
He's throwing heaters when he needs to be throwing breaking balls, is what it comes down to. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2 at the start of hour number 2 or start of hour number 3 at the 2 o'clock hour. We're going to be joined by Mr. Kevin Thomas from the Moving the Chains podcast. We'll take a look at the local prep scene. Then at 2:20, it's Fanboy Friday. Me and Drew are going to talk movies and music and video games and television and pop culture and whatever else you guys want to get to that's unsports related. Then we'll have one for Funzy segment, and then Twitter wraps it up for the week on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
You got a live read commercial after this.
After this commercial?
It'll be 1 minute from now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep up to date with every Upstate High School football game in real time with the ESPN.
Do I need to call anybody?
No. Kevin will be in the studio.
Oh. You're on in 5 seconds.
2021 version of Mad World is open. Bigger, better, badder, and scarier than ever before. I'm a big Halloween fan. Set up last night, carved the jack-o'-lanterns, watched some scary movies, did the Halloween stuff. And that's why getting out to Mad World is a highlight of Halloween. Why? Because it is voted every year the number 1 haunted attraction in South Carolina and one of the top 10 haunted attractions around the entire United States. The place is incredible, and you'll see it. If you've driven by Mad World at night since they opened up, you'll see exactly what I mean. You're going to see the lights. You're going to see the fog. You're going to see the lasers. You're going to see the smoke. It is an incredible experience, and just imagine if it looks that good from the side of 385, how impressive it is on the inside with more scenes, more sets, more actors, more special effects, more technical effects than ever before. So even if you've been to Mad World, you have not been to the 2020 edition of Mad World yet, and you need to. It is an incredible experience. It will make your entire Halloween season. Go online to madworldattractions.com, madworldattractions.com. Grab your tickets, reserve your time so you're not waiting in a big line. You show up, you got your tickets, you head on in, and you get the daylight scared out of you for funsies. It is the 2021 version of Mad World. Hitting the restroom. How much time I got? 2 minutes? 3.5. Perfect.
Man, wrinkles still ain't falling out of that flag yet.
Dude, that flag was $14. You get anything you want printed on a flag for like $14. Flagnation.com.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Text keyword ESPN and your message to 71307. Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
All right, wrap it up. Hour number 2 here on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate. 844-477-3776. 844-GSP ESPN. Texter said earlier, Rob, if Wake Forest wins out, will they make the playoff? Wake Forest is currently sitting at number 13. They're undefeated at 7-0. The problem Wake Forest has, and this is going to be a conversation that a lot of people are going to say in response, well, why didn't it impact Clemson, right? Why hasn't this impacted Clemson? Problem Wake Forest has is the ACC is not good. It's not good. So 7-0 in the ACC is looked at as worse than 6-1 in the SEC, like Kentucky, worse than 6-1 with a respectable slate of games out of Notre Dame. 6-1 is Ole Miss ahead of them. 6-1 is Iowa right now. So they're looking at both the Big Ten and the Big 12 as, losing a game is better than being undefeated in the ACC. 7-0 Michigan State is behind 6-1 Oregon. 7-0 Michigan, 6-1 Ohio State. That's your outside the playoff. Inside the playoff right now, according to the Associated Press, Oklahoma at 8-0 is number 4 out of the Big 12. Alabama's 7-1. Their only loss came to a top 25 Texas A&M team sitting at number 14 right now. Alabama at number 3. Cincinnati. How about Cincinnati finally getting the respect of a smaller program? 7-0 out of the American Athletic Conference. And Georgia right now at number 1. Now, I suspect that a handful of these teams have another L coming, right? Kentucky's got a couple of tough games left on the schedule in front of them. They've still got Mississippi State this weekend as well. Notre Dame, I don't know if Notre Dame's got another loss coming. Ole Miss, probably okay. Probably going to win out, maybe.
Well, the thing is, they don't go to the SEC championship.
Right.
You can't put Kentucky in the playoffs after getting demolished by Georgia and not even winning the East.
Yeah, on top of that, though, all that aside, like, you look down and if I'm looking at the playoff, just the playoff teams right now, right? Cincinnati has left on their schedule after a shootout win against Navy. They have Tulane, Tulsa, South Florida, a number 19 ranked SMU, not a bad program, and ECU. Cincinnati likely not losing another game. If Alabama loses to Georgia in the SEC championship, they're out. If Alabama beats Georgia in a close one in the SEC championship,
they're both in.
Oklahoma's 8-0 and have looked much better since Caleb Williams took over for Spencer Rattler. What a story that's turned out to be. Ohio State and Michigan is going to be a real interesting game, but Ohio State's got to get through Penn State first. And I told you, Penn State's either going to shock the world and get an upset, or they're going to get throttled in this game. And I'm banking. There's a reason James Franklin's name is being tossed around as a USC/LSU candidate. They've had a little bit of a slide. Have the Nittany Lions fallen down to 5-2? It's not a bad football team. All right, not a bad football team. So Ohio State's got to get by Penn State, and they've got Michigan. So Ohio State might have another L coming. I don't think Oregon does. Michigan State, I think they fall to Michigan this weekend. Close game, but I think they might fall to Michigan. I don't know. The ACC has lost so much respect as a football conference this year that I think even undefeated and winning the ACC championship, I think Wake Forest is on the outside looking in.
I just feel like 80% of it is because of the names. Clemson, if they were in the exact same position, of course they're in. If it's Wake Forest, we got to reevaluate. There's no way the Oregon Ducks are better than Wake Forest, but Oregon's got a name in the Pac-12.
Well, they went on the road and beat Ohio State in the house, right? That's Wake Forest does not have a signature win that they can prop up against Oregon's win on the road at Ohio State.
Right.
If Wake Forest beat Clemson from last year, yeah, signature win. They don't have that opportunity this year. That's their biggest problem. All right, Kevin Thomas from Moving the Change joins us in the next segment to talk local prep ball, Fanboy Friday. Have a little fun with Twitter on the way out the door on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. I'm going to go get it.
We're standing there in the stairway, and he comes up and goes, "Oh, is he there?" Hey, let me in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Chris changed the thing. I can't do anything on what's going on here.
Hey, Kevin.
Be right back, stream. Hang on.
It's the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Let's talk sports, baby. Welcome back to Rob Brown Shows on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. I'm Rob Brown. DJ Drew on the ones and twos every Friday, except last one because I'm stupid. We welcome in the young men. They are the host of the Moving the Chains podcast, focusing on prep football throughout the entire state of South Carolina. We bring them in to talk upstate high school ball. Kevin Thomas, John Epps. Fellas, what's happening? How we doing?
Rob, it is high school football weather, finally. You know, a little crispness in the air there.
Go right at it. There you go. Lean into it a little bit, man.
Woo, the weather's great. Let's go, Rob.
There you go. Did you start that off by saying woo? Woo, the weather's great. Johnny Boy, what's happening, fella?
Boy, I am feeling great. We are nice and dry here in the studio, ready to get out and watch some football tonight, though.
Neat line. So I want to get into that, but Kevin, I know you're a big Braves guy. John, I assume you are too, because you hang out with Kevin, and you'd be wrong if you aren't. He's wrong. Okay, all right, cool. Nobody's perfect. I forgive you. It's no worries. Nobody's perfect. I have said, Kmart, that tonight's a must-win for Atlanta. Must-win for Atlanta. You got a game 4 bullpen, which means the Astros have an elevated chance to win. And then you probably have to go Max Fried on 3 days rest in game 5, which, I mean, he already got shellacked in game 2 on full rest. So I'm a little concerned. If you're the Braves, you have to take 2 of 3. You have to go to Houston splitting 1-1 to win the series. And I think game 3 has to be one of the two, because if you lose back-to-back, you're already in trouble. And you're likely, I don't say you are likely losing tomorrow, but a bullpen game, it's more likely to use tomorrow. I think tonight's a must-win for Ann Anderson.
I think you're probably right about that. Now, I don't know what Houston's going to do tomorrow either, because I think they've kind of got their big 3 guys they're going to throw. Game 4, they may go bullpen as well. But yeah, I think you're right, because, game 4, we're going bullpen. I think game 5, we may go bullpen as well, because what's the point of bringing Free back on short rest if he can't go game 7 either way?
I mean, do you have enough arms to go back-to-back bullpens? I don't know if you have enough arms not to, but
I think you bank on a Drew Smiley or a Kyle Wright.
How about Kyle Wright? Tell me,
Davidson.
dude comes in the 9th and just Ks 3 in a row.
Yeah.
He might have earned himself a start at some point with that.
Because he had a couple nice outings last year in the postseason too. He had one where he got smoked, but most of them were solid. If he can get 3 or 4 innings in any game, that's a huge plus.
Was he? And I'm blanking right now. Was he the one that was on the hill when the Dodgers scored like 11 in an inning last year?
So.
I think he was.
Did start that one. Yeah, because he had been really good against Miami in the series prior. But yeah, the Dodgers did get a hold of him a little last week.
That's what I thought. But 3 batters faced 3 Ks to end the game the other night. I mean, they sent him out there in the bottom of the 8th, and you go, hey, you cannot allow any more runs if we have a shot at this. And they didn't have a shot at it, but if we were, can't do it. I'm intrigued. I think you have to get a W out of Anderson tonight. Good news is the bats have been better at home than on the road. So fingers crossed.
I think being an NL ballpark helps us out more than does Houston too. For them losing the DH, what do they do with Alvarez? What are they going to do? I don't know. I think that's a big advantage for the Braves.
But, and Drew said that earlier too, but I'm not 100% sure. For first and foremost, you got 4 outfielders with hot bats. Who you putting on the bench, right? Like is it Soler who led off game 1 with a dinger? Is it Duvall who's had a shot? I had to tell you who I think might, and this is going to, I think, shock some Braves fans who might have to ride pine. I think Jocktober. I think Jock Peterson might be the guy that's got to ride pine here.
Agreed. He did not look great in game 2. He didn't see the ball well. Didn't see him.
But he's been mashing in Atlanta, so you're kind of rolling dice here.
That's true. But I think he is probably the best pinch hitter of the 3 as well. Like you're certainly not sitting down Rosario or Duvall. So it really comes down to him or Soler. I think Jock's a little more dangerous off the bench than what Jorge is.
Yeah, you might be right. All right. Let's talk some Prep football. That's the reason the boys are here. The Moving the Chains podcast. Facebook.com/Moving Chains. Same on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find their podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. Before we get into some of the games, boys, I know you guys have been getting into the live interviews and all that. Tell the folks what you guys have been up to on the podcast for those who have not got a chance to catch it yet.
That's right. We had the Powdersville head coach, Robert Muster, on last week talking about their undefeated season. And on top of that, Rob, he actually started the program at Powdersville about 10 years ago. He was the first and only head coach they've ever had. So really cool to learn about how that whole process came about.
Nice.
We've got another couple coaches coming up the next couple weeks as well, leading into the playoffs. So lots of really good stuff, really good insight, and kind of cool to just kind of pull back the curtain and get the behind-the-scenes look at some of these programs.
Love to hear it. John, let's get it started, buddy. Week 9 recap. And I don't think you can start anywhere but Greenwood 30, Greenville 29. Slobber knocker.
I tell you what, a great game between 2 really good programs. Greenville had been playing so well this season, finally got that number 1 spot in the polls, but they had to go down to the friendly confines, and they had a chance. They had a chance to beat Greenwood. Greenwood edges them out, but a nice showing by Greenville. I was very impressed with the Red Raiders, even in the loss.
Score settled, and this is interesting. With 6 minutes still to play, the score would not change again. You got to give it up to late game defense in a slug out like that.
That's right. And Greenwood came up with a big stop, a couple of them late. I know Greenville was driving, had a 4th down pass go off the hands of the receiver. Probably would have converted there and kept the drive going, but the Eagles defense stepped off and made some big plays there late.
Gaffney 21, Clover 3. This one only important because it's official. Gaffney has clinched the division.
Yeah, no shocker here. We expected Gaffney to win this game. Clover started off the season pretty hot with a win over Dorman. And then they started to fall back in the shadows a little bit. But they played Gaffney tough, played some good defense. That's a Clover team that we might see in the playoffs. And that's not a fun first-round game for anybody that has to draw those guys.
No, I wouldn't think so. Burns drops one more in the regular season. This one to T.L. Hanna, 28-22. T.L. Hanna with the late touchdown to finish this one up.
A late touchdown pass, too, which you don't see often out of those guys or the Yellow Jackets. I think my highlight out of this game, Rob, is not that T.L. Hanna won, but it's that Burns' defense is kind of coming around a little bit. They've had a couple nice games against Dorman and now Hanna last couple weeks where they've actually held teams kind of in check. So Burns is trending in the right direction, even with the loss here. If they can get a little bit from that defense in the playoffs, they can make some noise as well.
That's what I was going to ask. What is? I know we're kind of still seeing districts shape up and all that, but for the Rebels, what does the playoff picture look like right now?
Oh man, it's going to be a mess. So they could finish anywhere from first, second, or third in the division. This is one of those regions that has a awful tiebreaker, which is point differential at the end of the third quarter. So could be a lot of different ways. If Dorman wins tonight, ends up by 6+ at the end of the third quarter, Dorman gets to 1 seed, Burns goes to 3. If Dorman wins and is leading by 5 or less in the third quarter, Burns gets the 1 seed, Dorman goes to 2. If Spartanburg wins, Burns gets a 2 seed. So all over the map here. Could be home, could be away. We don't really know yet.
What?
Yeah, I agreed.
Huh?
I don't know who voted on this. I don't know what it takes to get it voted out, but it needs to be done away with.
Golly, I sounded like I was listening to a damn calculus equation.
It's awful. Points differentiate at the end of the third quarter.
Ugh.
Now, don't get sold on that either, Rob, because every region does it a little bit different.
Yeah. So you guys told me about that towards the beginning of the season. We got no conversation about, Florida high school where I came from, the FHSAA versus what's going on up here in South Carolina. And, down there, it's first off, it's a statewide mandate, right? The FHSAA says, here's the guidelines for every county. This is what you do, et cetera. And then after that, it's pretty straightforward. In the case of a tie, it's head-to-head straight up. If there's no head-to-head, it's against equal opponents. If there's no equal opponents, it comes down legit just to a coin flip, right? There's no friggin' math involved in any of that. I find it really interesting that not only do you guys not do it what I think is a cut and dry way where, hey man, after a while you run into tiebreakers and it's just luck of the draw. You guys got X's and Y's and exponents and algebraic formulas and square roots, and it's different from district to district. So like Burns could end up first in one district and sixth in another. It's weird to me.
It's incredible. And, last year we talked about how good Greenville and how much talent Greenville has on this team. They got caught up on the wrong side of a 3-way tie last year, missed the playoffs.
Yeah, 3-way tie for first to make the playoffs due to a COVID-shortened playoff bracket. Just an awful way to go out.
All right, let's go ahead and turn our eyes toward Week 10. You guys have put 3 games down that are your 3 upstate games of the week. We lead it off, T.L. Hanna at Hillcrest this weekend.
This is the game that we're going to be at. We talked highly of T.L. Hanna and Hillcrest all year long. Both teams have some really good offensive weapons. T.L. Hanna, I think, has been kind of holding things back a little bit. I told you a couple weeks ago, Rob, they had 10+ guys carry the ball in a game. I think they've been kind of saving their 2 or 3 best guys and really, may give them a heavy workload tonight with the region championship on the line. Hillcrest is a team I like a lot of talent there. Judy, Coldren, McFadden, and whatnot. They can throw it and run it. And I think Hillcrest's return game might be a sneaky play in this game. We got 4 touchdowns this year returning the ball. I think Hillcrest at home gets an early lead and wins this ball game.
51-7 winners over JL Man last week. 51-7, 21 passing touchdowns on the year, I think, for the starting quarterback there. And on top of that, a little history potentially making just the 4th regional title in school history up for grabs tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot on the stake for the Hillcrest Rams. And I tell you what, I think Hanna's the better team here. The 3 of us, we saw Greenwood play Hillcrest to start the year off, and Greenwood came out on top in that game. Hanna is a more deep version of Greenwood. They run that wing tee. They keep the ball on the ground. They're very fluid, very decisive with that. Hillcrest had some problems with it. They did come back in the second half of that game. And what I think gives Hillcrest a chance in this game, they can throw the ball downfield. If they got to score in 2 minutes, go 70 yards, they've got the guys, the weapons, the tools to do it. I don't want to count Hillcrest out of this game until it's over. But I think the Yellow Jackets take the region.
Dorman is at Spartanburg tonight. Spartanburg last week, 35-7 winners over Riverside. But turnovers will kill you.
Yeah, this is a game where 2 teams that have been kind of hard to read all year. Dorman's been up and down, and honestly, they've looked most impressive in a couple games they've lost, and that was to Gaffney and Fort Dorchester. Still playing the 2 quarterbacks. They've got multiple guys running the ball. they're kind of hard to get a feel for. While Spartanburg has seemed to be on a good trajectory with quarterback Raheem Jeter back. They've got their stud running back Drake Carter also back. But this is a game where I think Spartanburg knows what's on the line as far as region championships go. I think they're just going to go ahead and lock it in and have to, do away with that whole tiebreaker mess for sure.
I agree. I think Dorman's a really good team, but I think we talked on this show early on when it was still 90 degrees out about how good we thought Dorman was, and they just haven't been able to put it all together for wins. We talk about their best games were losses. Spartanburg started off a little bit slow, but year 2 of Mark Hodge, the Vikings have really got it pointed in the right direction now. They have scored a boat ton of points. They've put up 65 last 2 weeks. They have lit up the scoreboard. I like the Vikings of this game. I think they lock up the region tonight as well.
Southside at Powdersville. Southside coming over a 34-14 win over Palmetto. New head coach at the helm there. They got a bunch of players who have had to kind of develop as the year went on. Powdersville, 54-27 winners over Blue Ridge last week. And this one looks like it could be kind of fun.
Powdersville is still undefeated on the year. Undefeated in region, obviously. I think Southside's sitting at 4-4, 4-5, but they're undefeated in region as well. So they've won the ones that counted the most. I think the Patriots are going to be a little too much. And this game, honestly, Rob, may not be close. If they get Eli Hudgens, player of the week, ESPN Upstate here, Thomas Williams, those guys get rolling for Powdersville, they may get out of hand here quickly.
You guys got a couple more down here. Other games you're keeping your eye on, Greer at Lawrence, and this is one of those ones that also has some of the weird tiebreaker implications depending on how it turns out.
So the issue here is that Lawrence had 2 games canceled due to COVID against the 2 best teams in that region, Greenwood and Greenville. So now they got to figure out, how do you count up a team that's played less games who may have 3 or maybe 3-0, 2-0 in region against a team like Greenville who could be 4-1 in region. How do you equal those out? It's going to be a mess as far as point differential and whatnot, because they don't want to give Lawrence losses for those teams to get 2 games to cancel, even though it was their cancellation due to COVID.
Sure.
So going to be a big mess there with that works out. But honestly, if Greer just wins this game, it'll take care of itself. But I think Lawrence is probably the favorite.
And finally, John, Clinton at Woodruff, second up for grabs in that region.
Yeah, it's a big game. Woodruff is no pushover. Clinton, they basically lost the de facto region championship a couple weeks ago against Chapman. Chapman's going to win the region, get that 1 seed. But this is a big game because this is going to decide the 2 and the 3 spot in that region, which means next week, the winner, they get to play at home. The loser, they got to go on the road.
Interesting. Love it. So T.L. Hanna at Hillcrest, Dorman at Spartanburg tonight, Southside at Powdersville, Greer at Lawrence, Clinton at Woodruff, some of your bigger games for the weekend. Again, they host the Moving the Chains podcast, facebook.com/Moving Chains, Twitter and Instagram at Moving Chains. And you can find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever your podcasts are found. Kevin Thomas, John Epps, good to talk to you, fellas. Appreciate you coming by, boys.
Enjoyed it, Rob.
Always. We'll have them back on. Playoffs start next week.
Next Friday.
Next week. So we're going week by week, breaking down the playoffs until we declare a fistful of state champs. We'll talk to them then. They are Moving the Chains on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts as well. When we come back, Fanboy Friday, where we goof off with music and movies and TV and video games and what the hell, who knows? We make it up as we go. Story of my life. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. rendition of beer can or ball club. Drew's going to give us a name, and then we are going to try to figure out, is the name he's giving us the name of a micro craft beer or a professional or semi-professional athletics team of some sort? Drew, the mic is yours, pal.
Award-winning beer, nonetheless.
Ooh.
Suggested by the mayor of our chat conversation, self-proclaimed Keegan. And I hope he's listening right now because I absolutely love this game, and he's the one who named it. Beer can or ball club? You know, we talked about noodles and Bones Day. What if I said the Sod Poodles? Would that be a beer can or a ball club? The Sod Poodles.
Sod Poodles. I mean, I could see some hipster somewhere brewing a microcraft beer utilizing grass and calling it a sod poodle. But considering there are so many places that like their claim to fame is grass, looking at you, Kentucky, and your famous bluegrass that is green, I'm gonna lean that is a team. Yes, 1-0.
Based in Amarillo, Texas. These are all baseball in honor of the World Series. What if I told you the Golden Spikes are out there? Would you say that's a beer can or a ball club?
Oh, that's a ball club. That's a team whose logo is a cleat with golden spikes on the bottom of it. That's a ball club, right? Got to be a ball club. Oh no!
That is a wheat beer from Unita Brewing in Salt Lake City. Couldn't find the Golden Spikes.
The Golden Spikes.
Once again, it may be that the any of these teams could also be the name of a ball club. But if I do find a ball club at all, the point goes to the ball club because there's so many beers. Anything can be named a beer, but coming up empty. The Golden Spikes.
All right, 1-1 to start the game.
The Hillsboro Hops.
See, that's a good one. This is 50-50, right? Hillsboro Hops. Hillsboro, North Carolina? And they could be a basketball team called the Hops? We said they're all baseball teams.
These are all baseball.
Oh. Well, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go beer on this one. I'm gonna go beer here. Oh no, losing record.
Hillsboro, Oregon replaced the Portland Beavers. It's definitely a beer somewhere, but if it's also a ball club, we give the point to the ball club.
Oh, dadgummit.
Baseball.
1 and 2.
Minor league baseball teams, all these. The Spirit Animals.
It's another one that could go either way. I can see a really good IPA named a Spirit Animal. But I could see I'm gonna go ball club. I'm gonna go ball club on this one.
Sour ale from Blue Owl Brewing in Austin, Texas.
1 and 3. This is my worst start ever.
Man, it's tough.
This is my worst start ever, y'all.
The Beaver Deceivers.
That's a beer. That's absolutely a beer. Yeah.
American style cream ale in Natchez, Washington.
That's absolutely a beer. The Beaver Deceivers is absolutely a beer.
Cool name, though. Squirrel Stampede.
That's a beer.
Brown ale from Grand Junction Brewing in Westfield, making your comeback.
If you pick the Squirrels or the Stampede, I'm in trouble there.
Combined,
It's gotta be a beer. 3 and 3, back to 500. I like this. I'm coming from behind.
What if I told you the Mighty Muscles?
That is a baseball team in New England. That's baseball.
Fort Myers, actually.
Fort Myers.
The Fort Myers Mighty Muscles Stadium is used for the Minnesota Twins spring training facility. So
Really?
they're affiliate of the Twins, but they play down in Florida.
Fort Myers. Muscles doesn't. Is it an actual muscle or is it like muscle like the shellfish muscle?
I think it's an actual muscle based on the flexing muscles to work out based on the logo.
See, my head went muscles as in like clams, as in like shellfish.
Right.
And I thought to myself that's a New England baseball team. But hey, a win's a win. 4 and 3 now. 4 and 3.
The Biloxi Shuckers.
Oh, I know that's a baseball team because they actually play my my beloved Pensacola Blue Wahoos, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and there's where you see Biloxi, Mississippi, named in reference to the city's oyster industry and seafood.
Their logo is a oyster with eyes and a hat and a baseball bat. I got home field advantage on that one because the Biloxi Shuckers are in the same league as the Birmingham Barons, the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, and a couple of other ones.
And
so I've seen them, and I've seen Biloxi Shuckers in person dozens of times.
They were down toward the bottom of my list, but I wanted to jump to them because you were thinking, mussels, oysters, those do exist.
Good point.
But what if I said Jupiter Hammerheads?
Oh, this one could go either way too. Hammerhead's a good name for a beer. I'm gonna go Ball Club on this one.
Miami Marlins affiliates.
Yes,
nicely done.
I because the Gulf of Mexico, where I'm from, like we famously have hammerheads that swim up to the beach all the time, and Jupiter is on the inside coast of Florida on the Gulf Coast.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, but they got to have hammerheads down there. Still a great name for a beer, but yeah, that one
Probably is.
Context clues.
And once again, these could be great names for teams that did exist, but I want current teams only.
Sure.
Round Rock Express.
Oh, this is another really good one. I'm going beer here. This is a beer. Oh no!
Round Texas, affiliate of the Texas Ranger. Team was named for Nolan Ryan.
Oh,
who was
Brownie.
nicknamed the Ryan Express.
Brownie, I should have known that. Damn it. I should have known that. I should have put Round Rock together with the Ryan Express. Screwed up. That's all right. Still 2 games over 500 here.
The T-Wheats. It's spelled T-W-H-E-A-T-S, the T-Wheats, but it's pronounced, I'm sure, tweets.
That's a beer, right? That's a beer.
Yep. Wheat beer
let's
from
go.
10 Barrel Brewing in Bend.
That's a good name for a baseball team. If you're somewhere where tea is popular, that's a good name for a beer or for a baseball club. But that's a great name for a wheat beer in 2021 where everybody tweets. T-Wheats. That's a good one. I like that.
If we came to Halloween season, I want to throw in some of these names. Smoky Hollows.
Smoky Hollows. That's a beer.
Yep. Now, I thought that might throw you because the Tennessee Smokies are there.
Yeah.
But Smoky Hollows is...
Yeah. I almost went Ball Club on that, but I thought, nah, very few teams are going to name themselves after not a location, but like a feature. That's a Smoky Hollows. I feel like there are Smoky Hollows, but that's a feature, not a place you would name yourself after. So I taught myself into beer.
The White Reapers.
Oh man. The White Reapers. That's a beer.
I love this one. The brewery is called Evil Sheck.
Don't hate it.
That's
Don't
awesome.
hate it. Oh, it's like all haunted beer names.
Yeah.
I like it.
Ghetto Matrix.
That's a beer.
Yeah,
That's a
again,
beer. I'm not even putting that down as a win.
I just liked it.
I'm keeping I'm gonna go right now 9-4. So I feel like I'm safely above 500 now.
The other one that I really liked on this list is just obvious, but Pulp Friction.
Pulp Friction's a great sour name.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's a fruit beer from Motorworks Brewing. How about the Hot Rods?
That's a baseball team.
Do you know that for a fact, or it just sounds like it?
No, I've heard it before. I can't tell you where they're from, but
Okay.
I know it's a baseball team.
Bowling Green Hot Rods.
That's it.
Are named for the city's connections to the automotive and racing industry, such as the National Corvette Museum.
Yep, I've heard of that one before. I knew there was a reason for it, but I've heard of the Hot Rods before. One of, as a matter of fact, so there's like 15 minor league teams with great names around the country that I am on a quest to get a fitted hat from all of them, like a 37 era hat from them. And the Hot Rods are on my list of teams that I want to. I need somebody to either go to Bowling Green and get me a hat, or take me with them to Bowling Green so I can get a Bowling Green Hot Rods hat.
Do people just naturally go to Bowling Green? I've never heard that. We're on our way to Bowling Green.
No, but Bowling Green is Bowling Green's didn't they used to host a bowl game in Bowling Green? I think they did. And it was like the one that, if they had a point where they didn't have enough 6-6 teams that they had to invite 5-win teams, 5-win teams were the ones that got sent to Bowling Green.
Huh.
It's Ohio, right? It's
Kentucky.
Ohio. Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh, then there's 2 Bowling Greens.
Right.
Either way, I'm taking it 10-4.
Let's see what else I got on the list here. Black Ace.
Oh, that's great. Beer.
Nailing it.
Love it. Got on a roll. Started off a little cold here. Started off cold. I'm going the Ann Anderson route. Start slow, get hot as we go.
Rail Raiders.
Rail Raiders? That's a baseball team.
That is in Scranton. And can't plug in my sound effects
That's
fast enough. Let's see. The Frost Hammers.
Frost Hammer. That's a beer. Let's go. In Fuego, baby.
I think you're running away with it.
Came to play today.
Biotransformers.
Oh, that's a good minor league team name. Biotransformers. That's a beer.
Yep.
All right.
No team like that. Lynchburg Hillcats.
That's a baseball team.
Yeah, going out on sports, and that's pretty much it.
All right, I'm taking it. 15-4. Nice. Started off 1-3 in beer cans or ball clubs. Started off 1-3, came back 15-5. Just absolutely decimating the beer can or ball club.
All right,
well done, buddy. Well done. No, that's a good
fun.
thing. That's a good thing. Well done. That's beer cans or ball clubs. Well, we got to get Drew on more often to do this.
Fun
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, take a break. One more segment, toss some sports. Then we got Twitter trending topics. And then, ya boy, filling in for the first hour of Offsides with Mark Ryan. Mark's out sick. I'll be in for Mark the first hour. Carter Bryant stepping in to take you 4 through 7. Local sports, Greenville Triumph, Greenville Swamp Rabbits, both got big matches this weekend. Break that down next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com. From the Ingalls Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Spectrum Mobile is reinventing wireless again. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month per line. No contracts, no added taxes or fees. Includes nationwide 5G. Save up to 60% with Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month. Call 855-438-2999 or visit a store near you. Offer valid for new customers on 2+ unlimited lines. Spectrum Internet required. Savings based on 2-line comparison of unlimited plans among major national carriers as of 9/20/21. Prepaid excluded. Restrictions apply.
And now the sounds of football from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers.
Shoot.
Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with FindRx coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the phone that's right for you.
Brandon, you coming up for the game, big dog? Driving up to the ATL. You going to the game, homie? Making that big money down there in Destin. Oh. How long? 10? Oh, perfect. Perfecto.
There's the rest, and then there's the best. You're listening to the best sports talk show in the state, according to the South Carolina Broadcasters Association. The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
All right, the Rob Brown Show. You get the bonus hour today as I take you up till 4 o'clock. We'll hand it off to Carter Bryant at that point. Mark Ryan out for the day, so you get an extra hour of the RB. You are welcome. Friends, you are welcome. DJ Drew on the ones and twos over on the other side of the glass. Literally today on the show, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Texter says, Rob, how dare y'all play the top 5 at 5 music while you play the guessing game? I'm telling Mark on Monday, you're in big trouble, mister. Hashtag Michelle Tanner. I'm only reading that for the Michelle Tanner tagline. Well done. Well done.
Yep.
Texter says, I can't read it, but I want you to know, Texter, that sent that other text, hilariously well done. You made me laugh during the break. So beautifully done. Well done. All right. The Greenville Triumph on the road Saturday night, taking on NCFC. If you have not heard us say it, this week, don't worry about it, but this is a big one. Big game for the boys on the road on Saturday night. Now, they're in a spot where they do need a little bit of help, okay? They need a little bit of help, and here's why. Greenville Triumph currently sit at number 3 on the USL League One tables. The top 6 teams make the playoffs. So the Triumph have already locked in the spot. They can't drop out of the playoffs. They are clinched. However, the first 2 teams, the top 2 teams on the table get a bye, get a first-round bye. So an extra week of rest without having to go full speed, and that would be big. That'd be big because there are some guys like Noah Pilato that are still getting themselves back in shape from injury earlier in the season. So an extra week of training, conditioning would be enormous. However, they must win, okay? They must win this game. And they also, pardon me, also need the Chattanooga Red Wolves to drop. So a 3 points along with Chattanooga either drawing or dropping would be absolutely enormous. That would be absolutely huge. So excited to see how this plays out. Excited to see how this works. I am absolutely pulling for the Triumph, as you should be as well. Not just to get the win, but you're pulling for Forward Madison as well, which is interesting. We got a fun little rivalry game against Forward Madison that's built up the last couple of years. Need the Forward Madison boys to go out there and at least grab a draw if the Triumph can go out there and put it away in order to move up on the table to second place. A move up to second would be huge because not only the first round bye, but then it would get you at least one home game in the playoffs. There is no way to catch Union Omaha. Union Omaha right now at 50 points. The Red Wolves at 44. The Triumph at 42. The problem is the Triumph can move down as well. They can move down as well. The Triumph sit at 42 points. If the Richmond Kickers were to go out and get a win and a full 3 points, and if the Triumph were to lose tomorrow night on the road at NCFC, the Triumph would actually drop down to number 4 on the table. Now, they would still have an opening round home playoff, but it could create a situation where there might be one additional road game. Obviously, the preference is to go get second place, knock off NCFC. North Carolina, by the way, last in the league right now. Worst team in the league, at least as points on the table are concerned. They are 2-3. 2-3 in their last 5. The Triumph are 3-0-2 in their last 5 with a couple of draws to go with the 3 wins. Chattanooga Red Wolves are obviously draw last weekend against the Triumph. They are 1-3-1. They have dropped 3 of their last 5. One just won and took a draw against the Triumph last weekend. So the good news is the Triumph have momentum. 3 wins, 2 draws, no losses in their last 5. The Red Wolves have lost a little bit of momentum. They lost the one before the draw with Greenville. So pulling for Ford Madison. By the way, Ford Madison right now 9th on the table with 33 points. They are locked out of the playoffs. The teams that are fighting for a playoff berth this weekend, North Texas is 39 in 5th place. New England Revolution 2 have 37. Tucson have 37. And Toronto 2 have 35. So with a win, Toronto 2 could move up. Tucson, New England Revolution 2, and North Texas are all right there around the hump. Richmond, I believe, is in, as is Greenville, Chattanooga, and Union Omaha. Union Omaha are your regular season champions. Even if they lose this weekend, they cannot do worse than first place in the league. So this one would be a big one. On the flip side, as we talk a little bit of hockey, big night for your Greenville Swamp Rabbits tonight, as well as they are home for game number 1 to take on the Jacksonville Iceman. They are asking everybody showing up to the game to wear their orange tonight, taking on Jacksonville in game number 1. And it's a big one for opening night. Big one for opening night in the homestand for your Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Remember, they dropped their opening game on the road, but tough game to win, right? They're over in Charlestown. They are taking on the Stingrays of South Carolina, and it was championship night. Not only was it a rematch of last year's ECHL finals, but it was championship night as they celebrated last year's championship victory. Remember last year, because of some unfortunate scheduling issues at the Well, the Swamp Rabbits spent, I think, 2 of their home games in Charleston. They were the home team, quote unquote, though they were playing away at Charleston. And I think that gave the Stingrays a little bit of the edge they needed to knock off the Swamp Rabbits in the championship. Tonight, a really good opportunity because winning home games is effectively mandatory if you want to win the ECHL championship. And Jacksonville's a good team, but not a great team. All right, they're a good team, not a great team. If the Swamp Rabbits can take a win tonight, have a little momentum tomorrow as they take on South Carolina back at the Well, that would be enormous. That would be an enormous win today for the Swamp Rabbits. Then they turn around. They are on the road until Thursday, November 11th. So if you've been missing hockey, tonight and tomorrow are your 2 chances because the Swamp Rabbits are not back in the Well until November 11th, but then they've got 3 in a row. The 11th is a Thursday. They take on the Jacksonville Icemen. Then they've got a Friday nighter against the Florida Everblades, followed up with a back-to-back, another episode with the Everblades on Saturday, November 13th. So if you are a hockey fan, if you've been waiting for the Swamp Rabbits to get back on the ice, tonight is your night. Tonight is your night. Texter says, Rob, my girlfriend asked me what they do with all the ice when there's a basketball game in the Well. Thought you'd get a kick out of that. Correct. I did. Well done, Texter. They chip it out. They put it in margaritas at the games. That's what happens. They chip it. They go out there. Our buddy Tim from the Swamp Rabbits takes a hammer and a chisel, chisels the ice out. They mix margaritas with it for basketball games.
Didn't know that.
No, it's you. Nobody knew that before. You can tell her I said that. Tell her I said that. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. When we come back, full round of Twitter trending topics to wrap us up on a Friday. Then I sit in for the bonus hour. Mark Ryan out today, so you get me up until 4. And then Carter Bryant will be taking over at 4 o'clock, taking you up till 7. Stick around. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
Four-minute break. Be right back.
Diesel's still coming in. I assume free.
Keep up to date with every Upstate High School football game in real time with the ESPN Upstate Score Stream at ESPN Upstate.com. Create your feed and follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays happen and when the games go viral. The ESPN Upstate Scores Tree. Get all the high school football scores in one place at ESPNUpstate.com. Matt World Haunted Attraction is now open. Voted one of America's top haunts and #1 in South Carolina. Venture through the haunted house and trail full of elaborate sets, special effects, and top-notch actors. Play our creepy carnival games and escape rooms, or check out our brand new 18-hole Ghost Town mini golf. Grab your friends and get ready to scream. Located in Piedmont off I-85, exit 35.
Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. For standout, Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification. Sellers, creative confidence. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338 Rocket.
ESPN Upstate. The Birds Rebels wrap up the regular season at Wade Hamptons on night 7. The Rebels and Generals playing on ESPN Upstate and the Odyssey app. Powered by your local Eagles market. 97.7 FM, 97 Live, and Spartanburg.
So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life. I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub. It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen. Keeping my sneakers clean. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser brings the
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
Get stylish, durable flooring for your home that will last a lifetime. And get it installed with help from Lowe's. Get Stainmaster Pet Protect carpet starting at just $199 per square foot. And Pergo Wet Protect laminate starting at $249 per square foot. Both with limited lifetime warranties. Order now, only at Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. Install available in-store only and limited contractor. See Lowe's.com for details and licensing. U.S. only. See Lowe's.com product detail page for more warranty information.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities. Where every Saturday is an opportunity to unlock greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game, Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
5G is here. The big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract and get in on the action. Well, no more. Because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. You get a Samsung Galaxy 832 5G for only $299, all on America's best network. 5G coverage, 5G phone, less money. Straight Talk Wireless.
Coming back.
You got Twitter?
Yep.
Perfect.
And now, The Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
What is trending in the tweets? We see sports first. Deshaun Jackson beginning to trend.
Deshaun Jackson. I'm not seeing why. Trade?
Yeah. Breaking news is that the Rams and wide receiver Deshaun Jackson have mutually agreed to seek a trade partner. Sources are saying that Sean McVay has announced that Jackson deserves to receive an opportunity to look around, has permission to not play this week and seek his trade.
It's interesting. The Rams are one of just a couple of teams that seem to be a genuine Super Bowl contender. Deshaun really hasn't made a ton of noise, though. You know, he's been okay. He hadn't made a ton of noise really the last two seasons. So I don't know. Who do you pair him with? Like, who's you know, you need some quarterback somewhere doesn't have a sideline deep threat, and Deshaun's in play. Interesting. Interesting.
Turning to streaming services, why would Disney be streaming? Give me one reason.
Disney is trending because they've dropped the trailer for something.
Yep, they dropped the trailer for Lightyear,
Yes.
Pixar's origin story, a film story of Lightyear,
Yeah,
starring
so
Chris Evans.
I saw, and there were a lot of people that were up in arms because they're like, why didn't you go get Tim Allen? Let
Right.
Tim out. So the way, and I've watched the trailer, what it looks like to me for this movie is that this is going to be the story of the actual astronaut who inspired the Buzz Lightyear toy that obviously was a hook in the Toy Story movies that was portrayed by Tim Allen. So this is not Buzz as you know him. This is going to be, I think, the backstory of the actual, in the Pixar universe, the actual astronaut that they then modeled Buzz Lightyear after to start. So it makes sense that it wouldn't be Tim Allen. I would not be surprised if the movie ends with a Tim Allen cameo in it, though, right? Like the last scene is the introduction of the Buzz Lightyear toy, setting up the Toy Story movies, etc. down the line.
Could be. Most recently, the Just Beyond series has dropped the unique stories of creepy things going into the Halloween season. I guess that's been going on all week. So trying to find what else has been trending for Halloween that's not just straight up gory. The next most popular thing, according to this page, was it's National Cat Day. You can dress up your cat for Halloween. I know you, Rob Brown, have been waiting for this moment all year to dress up your non-existent cats.
Yeah. So woke up this morning feeling like P. Diddy. Put my glasses on out the door, about to hit the city. And the girlfriend says to me, because she's a cat person, right? And I'm a dog guy.
Right.
But I tell people something. I'm not a dog guy. I mean, I am a dog guy. I prefer dogs to pretty much any other animal on planet Earth. But at the end of the day, I'm really an animal guy. I'm an animal guy, right? Like if I walk in the door and a cat jumps on my lap, I'm not going to be like, no, move, cat. If a cat jumps, hey, I'll pet the cat. I'm an animal guy, though I'm a dog guy first. Y'all cat people, some of y'all take it a little far sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Some of y'all take it a little far with the affection to your cat. We've laughed in the past because the girlfriend's dad, a handful of weeks ago, Drew, I had a case with Bell's palsy, right? Where my hair stopped working. And her dad told her, I think you would be more sad if the cat got Bell's palsy than your boyfriend. And she said, Yeah.
That's a cat person.
Yeah, that's a cat person.
Right.
Like the cats are more important than people.
The fact that this is trending of taking pictures of your cat, like it's cute to dress up the dog, but that doesn't trend as well necessarily, I think, as far as cat people.
Because dogs are fun and they'll
go with it.
Yeah. A cat, as soon as you put a hat on a cat, the cat, you know what it turns into? A murderer.
Right.
It wants to get. The only reason that cats don't rise up against people is because they go, you feed us, you literally shovel our poop out of your house, you carry it outside. We don't have any affection towards you, yet you continue to do these things. Effectively, you are all nothing more than servants to cats.
Yeah.
I just need you cat people to know you are servants to your pets.
Dogs have owners, cats have staff. But I feel like those who dress up their cat are the same people who dress up their cars for Christmas, the reindeer stuff. It's just, why?
I'm not going to do it. I don't hate that because it's Christmas, right? Like,
yeah,
you're supposed to be spreading cheer. And if you can see somebody who gets into Christmas and go, bum humbug, that's on you. The problem that I have with cat people, and I've said this on the show before, Drew, you know what sentence has literally never been uttered by a dog person? No dog person has ever gone, my dog's just like a cat, as if they're bragging about it.
Right.
But every cat person in America has said, my cat's just like a dog. Well, then get a damn dog. Why? Your cat is not just like a dog. Now, I will say this. The lady friend has two cats. She's got a Siamese cat and she's got an orange cat, Bailey and Wade. And like Bailey's chill because Bailey will jump up and sit on the couch with you. Like she'll sit next to you and she'll sit there. But she's just like, I don't want you to touch me. I'm just in the zone. Just like, I'm cool, whatever. Which, all right, cool. I'm the same way. Wade is the orange cat. He was a street cat that the shelter found and brought him in, and then the girlfriend adopted him. Wade, bro, when he hears a move in the morning, right? Like somebody rolls over in the bed or the alarm goes off, Wade's like, hey, Hey, feed me, feed me, feed me. Hey, feed me. Hey, 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 hey. And he doesn't stop till you get up. He is an alarm clock I don't want.
Yeah.
He's a great cat. Like, and really, if you're sitting on the couch, like, he's the one that'll jump up and like sit in your lap. And again, I'm not going to kick him out. I'm just saying, no dog person has ever said, my dog's just like a cat. Every cat person has tried to rationalize being their cat's servant by going, he's just like a dog. No, he's not, because if he was, he'd be a dog.
One last thing trending. Did you see the Miami dog show trending?
No.
It was absolutely hilarious. There was this regular dog show. Everything's going great. Then all of a sudden, the humans break out in a full-blown fist fight in Miami. You have to watch the video. It's absolutely hilarious. These dogs, well-behaved as all get out in this dog show. And my owner is just barking at everybody. And they had to cancel the whole show. Dogs were very upset.
The only thing wrong about dogs is dog shows. We can stop. You know that I don't want you to show me a dog by going, hey, look, it's my dog. And then letting me hang out with your dog, which I like more than you. Literally everyone. That's it, except for it's not. I'm back for another hour. Drew, thanks for hanging out with us this week, buddy. Enjoyed it. See y'all next week on The Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate. Later, brother.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz has sent a letter to the Hockey Hall of Fame asking for the name of
Hey, man,
Brad
appreciate it,
Aldrich to
dude.
be removed from the Stanley
Dream, I'll
Cup.
see y'all later.